Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Paranormal Portal. It's Friday night. Congratulations, you made it. You're at the weekend now. Hope you all had a great holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And I said all that stuff before Thanksgiving, but now you might have missed that show and you're here. So happy Thanksgiving. And I'm thankful y'all are here. And maybe I don't say thank you enough, but you guys mean the world to me. So thank you for being here and being a part of my world. And we've got a lot to get to tonight, folks. We are going to be, obviously it's Friday night. We're doing the news. That'll be coming up. We'll be doing some other stuff and then more stuff. And then a little while later, we'll be done. I don't know. I don't always have a real solid plan, but I got some stuff pulled up for you. But I do have a surprise, folks. Well, maybe it's not a very good surprise because I didn't keep it real well. But I have a special co-host with me tonight and a gentleman by whom I'm sure you all know and are well aware of him and his work. But I am welcoming to the show Mr. Wes Germer of Sasquatch Chronicles. Hey, Wes, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Brent. And it's kind of weird. I'm watching it on the delay on YouTube. So
yeah.
But thank you for having me and happy Thanksgiving, man.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate you making this happen. I know you and I have been friends now for a long time, and we often talk about getting together and doing shows, but it doesn't really happen that much. And that's understandable. But I really appreciate you making the time to come in here and hang out with us. I got to ask you, and I didn't ask you before we actually went live, and so I'm going to put you on the spot while we're live, which is kind of a dick move, but you know, you get what you get.
Fine.
Are you okay, like, if we hit a segment and where people can ask you questions?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So if any of you guys got questions, just hold them. Maybe later in the show, we'll just do an opportunity, where you can type all your questions in capitals and we'll let Wes answer, what he will. So, but yeah.
I probably won't answer anything, but I enjoy being asked.
Yeah. Well, we'll just throw a bunch of questions at you and then you can say, oh, bad connection and log off. It works every time. So, but you're a long time. You're familiar with the show. I mean, you've been here in the chat with us a bunch of times. So, do you have any questions before we start, Mr. Germer?
No, not at all. Let's kick it off.
Let's kick it off because
hello to everyone in the chat.
Oh yeah, everybody's saying hello. Yeah. Well, they're here for you probably more than me, but
I doubt that.
So we're going to get to the news, ladies and gentlemen, and you may not know this about Wes, but he's also a creative genius, and he put together the transition for the news. It's got a little different music.
Creative genius might be a little bit of a stretch.
Just take it, brother. But we're going to get to the news now and head into that, and we'll discuss whatever the hell's going on. I don't even remember because I just pulled this stuff up for the headlines. And then we go over it together. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the news. And I got to actually push the right button. Here we go.
The 80s.
Oh,
80s video game or something.
Oh, cool. I wrote that. It was actually for another guy who was going to be starting a show, and so he was looking for some theme music for his show, and so I just threw that together. But I do think that intro now looks longer without your original music on it, and I think you're right. You had mentioned, hey, maybe you want to shorten that up now, and I think you're right. Like, it's a little too long with my music on it. Something about that disco beat just kept it moving.
Yeah, I wonder who actually said that was their music, because that's been free music. I intentionally put free music in there for you.
Yeah, it was a claim, and I maybe could dig it up. It was on Facebook. It didn't come through on YouTube at all, which is unusual because YouTube is like ninja quick on nailing that stuff. As far as copyright stuff, but it was on Facebook that I started getting claims, for it. And I was like, oh God, I've only been using it for years now. So that'll be fun. But I did rebut it because I thought they were talking about a different piece of music, which is one that I wrote. But then I look back at the notes and like, oh no, they're actually talking about the theme music for the news. But they didn't rebut the rebut. So maybe it's, there was companies that were doing that though. They were going out and hammering everybody they could, trying to get paid, even whether they owned it or not. So it is possible that it was just scammy. But at any rate, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I resized my camera, so I probably screwed up your whole...
Oh, you're kind of reframed a little different, aren't you? That's all right. You look like you're like casually lean into the right now. So that
Let me, here, I'll move it back over.
Make yourself comfortable.
Tell me if that fixes it.
Next shot, he'll be laying on a pillow. Yeah, it looks good. It's fine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the news. This is the news segment of our show where we go through articles and interesting information based on these articles that I've pulled up for you. Always throughout the course of the show, we're utilizing several different websites. And I ask you guys, just please support these websites. They're doing a hell of a job, incredible work, and they need your love. So keep visiting these sites. There's so much more information on them than I could ever cover on any of these shows. So definitely support what they're doing. That's always my caveat. So I got some news articles up, Wes. Let's start digging into those, eh?
I muted out. Let's do it.
Rookie.
I know.
All right. Well, here's
it's
one.
So weird. I'm on a delay. It's so weird to see myself because I'm about 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of delay. It's pretty crazy versus what you're hearing, but you're actually a big fan of history. Yeah.
Yeah. Huge fan.
Well, you might love this article then. This is coming from unexplained-mysteries.com, which is an incredible site, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to take a look at it. Yeah, it's framed up pretty good. And this is from Archaeology and History Files, and its New Easter Island study upends what we know about the Maui construction. Is that pronounced Maui? How do you say that? Do you know?
I think it's Moai.
Moai. Thank you. Yeah, I can tell I'm not a student of history. But let's see what it says here. It says the findings offer a new perspective on the organization and cooperation that produced the famous stone heads. A small landmass of only 63 square miles, Easter Island has remained something of an enigma for years. Its army of strange stone heads, known as the... How'd you say that again?
Moai.
Moai?
I think it's Moai.
Okay. Yeah, because that's way better than my attempt. That's why I asked you again, because it didn't stick in my head. And the long-debated collapse of its ancient society remains some of the world's most enduring archaeological mysteries. Now, though, a new drone study, has helped to piece together another piece of the puzzle, in particular regarding the way people cooperated to build the statues in the first place. While previously it was believed that all the people on the island worked together to do this, the latest findings indicate the work was actually carried out in a decentralized fashion by at least 100 separate family groups who worked mostly independently. By creating a simulated representation of the island's quarries from 11,000 drone images, researchers determined that multiple different locations and techniques had been utilized in carving out the statues. I mean, for a small island, these guys were industrious as hell then, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was an island when they built those, but...
Okay, that's interesting. Our analysis reveals 30 distinct Quarian foci distributed across the craters, each containing redundant production features and employing varied carving techniques, the study co-authors wrote. This spatial organization, combined with the evidence for multiple simultaneous workshop constrained by normal boundaries or natural boundaries, indicates that the Moai production followed the same decentralized clan-based operation documented for other aspects of Rapa Nui society. This certainly explains why so many of the statues have been found in various states of construction, something you wouldn't expect to see if everyone was working together on the same goal. It is perhaps all the more remarkable then that so many of the statues were actually completed at all. Well, that was a lot less interesting than I thought it was going to be, but it's kind of interesting, I guess. They didn't work together, Wes. They were doing their own thing. What do you think of that?
Yeah, if you talk to, there's a local legend that the gods had built those,
Mm-hmm.
and that you only see the head today. Like I said, they were on a if my memory's right, they were actually on a mountain. That island was a mountain at one time, and it was
Oh,
built, uh, I guess pre-Diluvian, pre-flood. Like how
oh,
I think the pyramids and a lot of things were. I don't think the Egyptians built the pyramids. I think they found it and were like, oh, we're going to set up shop here. But I don't think that had
oh,
anything to do with it. But there's something about those statues. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Some,
oh,
sorry, that's Teddy going crazy.
oh, I can't hear.
Um, but anyway, I'm way off track.
No,
But
I think
yeah,
it's
there's something
fascinating.
about those statues. It's been a while since I looked into it.
I love the old legend of them marching to the sea. That was pretty cool. But was that basically just the fact that they were so damn heavy and the soil was just slowly giving way? Is that what was going on?
Yeah, and they sunk.
Yeah.
I think they're actually idols.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that makes a little sense. You got to wonder why they would carve them in the first place, but that would make sense then. Yeah, I did. So was there some big archaeological event like an earthquake or something that sunk the island or?
Local legend is it was a global flood. It was
Oh,
a
okay.
flood that actually there's a gosh, I was just talking to this guy on the show the other day, and what's the name of it? It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. Anyway, like Hawaii was actually the mountain chain of Hawaii. Today we think of it as like an island,
Right.
and it's kind of the same thing there. I think those were idols put on top of a mountain, but today we see it as an island and wonder where'd they get all the stuff from? How did they build it here?
Right. Yeah.
Because it
Oh,
seems kind of pointless to put those up like on an island. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Head from neck down underneath the ground. So
Buried. Right. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's a new insight to it. Thanks for that, brother. I never heard of all that before. That's fascinating. But I agree with you. I think a lot of this old stuff is like the pyramids. I think it's definitely pre-Egyptian. But I think that possibly the Egyptian archaeological authorities are really holding on to that because it's a matter of national pride. It's like our ancestors did this, but it becomes much less exciting if we found them like this. It's hard to take as much pride in that. But yeah, it's fascinating
it's hard
stuff.
for the Egyptians to take that as like, oh, our ancestors built that when we can go. I mean, we have one in Alaska. There's
Yes.
the Black Pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
You find them all over in South America, all over the world. So it's really hard for the Egyptians to be like, oh, we built this. I kind of call BS on it.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. Very good point. All right. Well, let's go to the next article and see what other wonders I've pulled up for our discussion tonight. Here's one. This is probably a little cliche, and you're like, oh, really? But I can't miss this opportunity. And what am I talking about? That's a Bigfoot article, Wes.
Oh, nice. Very
All
nice.
right. All right. So from Creatures, Myths, and Legends of Unexplained Mysteries comes the Bigfoot Files. FBI publishes cryptid case file on its website. I didn't hear about this. Did you?
Sorry, I keep hitting mute so that you don't get any back feed. Yeah, I heard about it. I think I'll let you read it. But
Okay.
yeah, I did hear about it.
All right, well, let's read this and find out what's going on. I don't ever know. So, genuine FBI documents concerning lab testing of alleged Bigfoot hair samples are now available to view. Wasn't this what they found out to be deer hair? Isn't this been around for a while? Anyway, I'll keep going. Sorry. It turns out that Bigfoot isn't just some strange or some fringe phenomena. The Federal Bureau of Investigation itself once thought it significant enough to maintain its own case file on the subject. Now available to view on the FBI's own website, the Bigfoot Files are essentially a 22-page release containing correspondences, newspaper clippings, and other information on the phenomenon. One letter, which was sent in 1976 from Peter Byrne of the Bigfoot Information Center to the Assistant Director of the FBI, J. Cochran Jr., asked for testing to be carried out on a Bigfoot hair sample. Another letter sent a few months later followed up on this examination by noting that the FBI lab had reportedly concluded that the hairs were from a species of deer. Okay, I did hear about this then. In total, the release contains multiple such letters representing a chain of ongoing correspondence. Ultimately, the case file doesn't really offer any further evidence to support the existence of Bigfoot, but what it does do is suggest that the FBI took the subject seriously, at least in the 70s. After all, it seems unlikely to the extreme that the assistant director of the FBI would go along with a request to test alleged Bigfoot hair samples in this day and age. You can read the full release for yourself in the FBI's vault here, and I'll put a link, everybody, in the chat to the actual article, and you guys can go check it out as well. But so what do you think? Does that actually show that they were invested in looking into it, or do you think they just did it as a matter of course?
No, I think there was more to that. Peter Byrne told me that whole story where he sent hair off to the FBI, but I kind of think they were watching him because he had the phone number, then he had the whole thing. But before that, the whole international incident of him stealing that Yeti hand, he told me that whole story too.
Right.
And I think he did send them hair. I think he told me, I don't remember it being deer hair, but it came back as nothing. But you got to remember, this is 40, 50 years ago. FBI is not going to look at your hair today. So
yeah. I just kept thinking of when I had Bobo on the show, and he was talking about how before finding Bigfoot and all that stuff, he was researching, and he would go along and collect poop samples and rush them down to the ranger station. And how much love they must have had for his visits.
Yeah. I've had Bigfoot researchers that, I had one guy, he sent me all these pictures of just frozen poop in his freezer.
Oh, no.
And I was like, and he ended up getting a divorce. I don't blame his wife. I'm like, can you imagine opening the freezer and there's all this crap you got from the woods in there? For one day when DNA could look at, you could afford to have someone look. I don't know. It's crazy, man.
Get the prime rib. It's under the turds.
Yeah, it's under all the turds. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, there you go. I guess this isn't new news, folks, but at least the link is there if you want to go check out the files for yourself.
It's interesting that they actually looked at it back then.
Yeah.
But Peter Byrne was a whole different. He's not like your, Joe Nobody Bigfoot researcher. Everyone kind of knew him back then.
Oh, okay. So he was a hot topic in those days then.
Yeah, that whole Yeti thing.
Yeah.
It's a crazy, crazy story of him getting the monks drunk and then stealing the Yeti hand. I thought about doing a whole show on it.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I do remember him telling me that he did send off hair to the FBI and it came back as nothing.
Okay.
And he claimed it actually was a hair of Sasquatch. And so he told me that whole story, but
so in his estimation, according to what you remember, he didn't think that those were the actual results. Those were just the results they gave him.
Yeah, he thought it was BS is what they gave back to him because he was sure that it was Sasquatch hair.
Okay. Gotcha. That's fascinating. I hope you do that episode. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, I got a cool idea for it. But yeah, Peter Byrne was actually a pretty cool guy. He was a little, I wouldn't even say that. I met him later in life. He was actually a really nice guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, very interesting to talk to him. The guy lived a crazy, crazy life. But yeah.
Oh, that sounds really cool. I can't wait to see that. All right. Well, let's go to the next and last article. Oh, this one's kind of tragic. I thought this would probably happen. I've always been concerned about this. And all you cat owners and lovers, I'm a cat owner and lover. And I always think about the fact that there are eagles around, and can that be a danger to cats? And
absolutely.
This turns out, yes, it is a danger to cats. And it's kind of a tragic story, but here you go. The last article of the news tonight. This is from World of the Bizarre of Unexplained-Mysteries.com. And this is Eagle drops cat through moving car's windshield in North Carolina. Oof. And here's the meat of the article. A freak accident saw an unsuspecting driver get the fright of her life during an otherwise routine trip along the highway. The woman, whose name has not been disclosed, had been out driving along U.S. Route 74 near Bryson City when there was a sudden loud noise and the passenger side of her windshield caved in. In total shock, she pulled over and tried to determine what had just happened. Her call to 911 dispatch conveyed the fear and surprise of the incident. "You may not believe me, but I just had a bald eagle drop a cat through my windshield," she said. "It absolutely shattered my windshield." The dispatcher seemed a little uncertain about the sincerity of the call at first, but noted that they had heard crazier stories from callers. And when they asked the woman if the cat itself was still alive, she replied that the animal was deceased and that it was now lying on the side of the road, not inside of her car. "Okay, I just have to ask to make sure," the dispatcher replied. It seemed as though the eagle must have been carrying the carcass of the dead cat when, just as it was passing overhead, it lost its grip and dropped the creature's remains right on top of her car. The woman was quite fortunate, and the end result could have been much worse. And there's a picture. I guess there is
Wow.
We should check out this story. What do you think, Wes? Should we have a look?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
That's crazy.
It is
Looks like a
crazy.
boulder went through that windshield.
Right. It must have been a huge cat. I mean, you can shoot some calibers of guns at windshields and they'll bounce off. So let's see what this is. Stand by, everybody. This is from CBS 17 on their YouTube channel. So let's have a look.
This is wild. A driver in North Carolina stunned after a bald eagle drops a cat through her windshield.
Yeah, this happened on U.S. Route 74 in Swain County Wednesday morning. A photo here shared by State Highway Patrol shows the car's broken windshield with a massive hole. The driver was not injured, but she did tell 911 that the cat did not survive.
That is just unbelievable story.
That was it, I guess.
Cat was probably dead before it hit the windshield.
Yeah, it probably had already dispatched it and was carrying it home, as it were. But man, what an impact! Oy, that's tragic. And you know, I mean, obviously,
Imagine trying to explain that to your insurance company.
yeah, it's not an act of God, damn it. Yeah, the old caveat disclaimer. That, I mean, in this picture that they offer in the article, it looks like a loving scene, but that probably wasn't the reality of it, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. This has been the Paranormal Portal News. Hope you guys learned something, had some fun, or at least found it mildly entertaining. So let's get back to the rest of the show. Here we go. And there we go. That was the news. That was fun.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Even hawks will, even a small dog.
Oh,
I had
really?
a neighbor one time were about Teddy's size. I mean, 15 pounds. And a hawk came down, grabbed the dog, and ended up dropping it again in the yard. But yeah, you got to watch those big
Those big raptors.
birds. Yeah,
Yeah, I know owls are pretty notorious for going after cats too.
Yeah,
Especially
that's
kittens.
another one.
Yeah. Yep. That's why my cats don't go out at night. But yeah, there's actually an eagle nesting ground near here, and I grew up next to one back in Minnesota too. And it's like, I saw some of the stuff that they drop and some of the fish, those huge fish that they sometimes drop. And it's like, man, it's kind of one that you'd struggle to get into a boat, and these things are flying away with them. So yeah, they're strong.
have you ever seen a bald eagle up close?
Me, yeah, many
They're
times.
huge, man.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely.
way bigger than I thought.
I know. It's funny because you think you understand, but then when you actually see them in the wild and they're close, like I said, I live in an area where they are, but also growing up. But they can be up in a tree, and when their wings grab the air, it like pops. It's like, and it's just this huge. I've had
Like
one.
Batman.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh my God. And that wingspan is so broad. And
Yeah.
their feathers are amazingly long, like 18, 20 inches long on the wingtips. It's just crazy.
It's not that though. You got to watch their talons. The talons that get you.
Yeah, not the feathers so much, but yeah, the talons are the business end of them. Yeah, absolutely. But they we had a frozen lake in front of the house back in Minnesota, and during the winter, it would like melt a channel. The channel would melt, and ducks would hang out there, and those eagles would go after ducks all the time. And we'd have like chewed up ducks all over our lawn because they'd sit up in the trees then. And once they were done, they'd just drop them. And so you got duck carcasses. Yeah, they're opportunistic as hell. True stuff.
Isn't it a felony to shoot a bald eagle?
Yeah.
It's like a major felony.
Yeah, I think I heard a talk that they were talking about removing them from the endangered or I don't know what they call it, if it was endangered or what status they had, but apparently their populations are doing great, and there was talk of removing them from the protected species list, but I don't think you should still shoot them.
Yeah.
They're
endangered or not, felony or not, come after my dog and I'll shoot you. I'd bury it too.
Yeah.
Tell him soul.
You just got to hide the body, I think, is the key, right?
Yeah.
I know. Could you imagine being outside, letting your dog out to go, and then woof? I mean, what could you do? You just sit there and just be absolutely heartbroken. Ugh, that's horrifying. All right. Well, we're going to get to an article now. We've kind of touched on it a little bit. You ever heard of that creepy connection that twins sometimes have? Like sometimes they know things that are going on with each other, even though there's no way they should know.
Yeah, I actually believe that.
Yeah.
I think they share so much of the exact same DNA that I actually buy into that. You know, there's a lot of, I've heard stories where like one twin will know when another twin is in danger, or I think there is some weird connection between twins. I don't know if that's where you're going, but I do believe it.
Actually, it is, because we're covering a story from Thought Catalog, and this is written by Emily Madriga in 2021, and this has to do with twins. The title is 23 People Tell the Creepiest Case of Twin Telepathy They Ever Witnessed. And a lot of these have been submitted by twins, and some of them, I mean, some of them are really profound. Others of them are like, well, you know, maybe there's something to that. But, well, you know, Jaron and Roman of Supernatural Station podcast, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Those nice guys.
Yeah, they're great guys, and they're twins, and they were talking about some of the stuff that has happened to them, how they would know and just key in on
It's funny talking to them because one will start talking and the other one will finish the thought.
Yeah, it's like
kind of weird
there's like a shared brain in there or something. Yeah. Wonderful guys though, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very nice guys. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's get to this article. This is again from Thought Catalog, ladies and gentlemen. Another one of those. Definitely support the sites. And here we go. We're on, I don't know, they're not numbered, so I don't know, but it's you know, I always look at the scroll bar on the right, and it's hardly moved. So I think it's a lot bigger than 23. But let's check it out. This is the first, I guess we're on Teachers Hate This One Weird Trick. How many ads have you seen that started out with that one, Wes?
I always wanted to ask you, what is this site? They just like throw up stories, like Reddit stories, or what?
Yeah, they do Reddit scrapes. It's called thoughtcatalog.com. Thoughtcatalog.com, all one word. Yep. And they're not only doing supernatural weird stuff. They do articles about, you know, everything. It's just this real robust site of a lot of cool stuff. All right.
I got you.
Teachers hate this.
I don't know why that was important to ask, but sorry.
It's okay. You scored a 10 on the random meter. No, I'm just kidding. Teachers hate this one weird trick. Someone with twin boys said they both had tests in school and both answered everything exactly the same. And the teacher was furious and made them test again separately and still tested exactly the same. And it was really embarrassing for her. And that was by Silly Gay Boy. Well, I mean, yeah, if they share a brain, they're going to get the right answers both times. I don't know. That one's, it could just be knowing the stuff, though. That's not necessarily weird, right?
No, not really.
Okay. Let's go. We always win game night. Seriously, I'm not making this up. We were playing a game of Pictionary. We were not cheating, just playing regularly, and I drew 2/3 of a circle, and he blurts out King Tut. That was the answer. That was by Loves to Watch. Yeah, circles should not get you to King Tut, I don't think, normally.
No. I'm going to call cheating on that one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they were like what is that, Professor Xavier, just, you know, mentally doing that thing. But another omen is the next one. It says, around the same hour that my twin sister died, I fainted for the first time in my life. I was not sure that she had died. It was an aortic aneurysm, totally out of the blue. She was 23 and healthy. Oh, that's so sad. I was at work and I just fainted. I wasn't sick, never fainted before. I just collapsed to the floor with no warning and was unconscious for around 5 seconds, I think. And while I was sat being looked at by the first aider at work, I got the call to go to the hospital as she had been taken in. She had already passed at home, though. It was the worst day of my life. Wow. So she was at work and went total out at the same moment that her twin passed away. That's creepy. I mean,
That's creepy.
I don't know. Is that wonderful or creepy? I don't know how I feel about this, I guess. I've never had a twin, so I don't know if this is really bizarre or it's really wonderful that they share that connection.
I think it would creep me out.
Yeah.
Kind of like those people that you ever heard of people that get transplants, like heart transplants?
Yes.
Now they can play the piano when before they could never play the piano.
Yeah. Yeah. We covered it.
Makes you wonder if there's something like some weird connection there.
You know, that's a good point. And that I guess that could be a similarity. And a lot of times the people get donated parts, like that person's no longer here, but suddenly those people adopt, they adopt tastes and behaviors and idiosyncrasies of the person that passed away. And that's very, very strange. But maybe there's something to that. You know, you're right. Like maybe it's not whether the person's living or dead that matters, but it's that they share that connection again that you had mentioned before.
Yeah, I was going blind back about 15 years ago.
Oh.
I had what they call keratoconus. Both Woody and I have it. This is an irrelevant story. You can go on to the next story.
Well,
but I was going to say I got someone's, it's where your eye turns into a diamond.
Oh, Jesus.
So you can see really well, especially at night. But during the day, it's quite painful. But I never experienced, I just got the tip of someone's eye. And,
oh, okay.
But I never experienced anything like that. Like I can't play the piano or, you know.
Turns out your donor was just lazy and didn't do anything.
Yeah, I still listen to the same crappy music and, you know.
There you go. Well, you didn't get the good parts. That's all.
I know.
Let's go to the next one. This is pain transfer. When me and my twin sister were 2, she got a finger stuck in a door. Oh, and part of it was ripped out. My parents took her to the hospital while my aunt and uncle watched me at home. Apparently, I was playing calmly, and at a certain point, I started shouting and crying and shaking. My aunt and uncle were so panicked, nothing seemed to appease me. My uncle even had to hold me in his arms because I was shaking hysterically. Well, I eventually became calm again as if nothing had happened. And when my parents came home, they explained the whole thing to them, and my parents were in disbelief. At the same time I had my crisis, my sister went into the operating room to get stitches, and my parents and the doctor were shocked that she didn't even flinch, cry, or do anything whatever a 2-year-old would normally do if having a finger stitched up without being anesthetized. She even laughed and sang while waiting in the emergency room. My parents and uncle and aunt still believe to this day that somehow I felt the pain for my sister, that it was somehow transferred. Weird. That was by Mrs. Premise, MRS Premise. And we there was another story on this list, Wes, that's kind of similar to that, in that the 2 twins, one was in a separate part of the house watching television, and the other was coming down the stair. And the one who was coming down the stairs tripped and fell and banged their leg really hard, but had no pain. But the one that was in watching TV suddenly started howling in pain because they had pain in their leg. They didn't understand why. How's that for creepy?
That is creepy. Really creepy.
I know there's some people I'd like to mail my pain to, but
Yeah, you and me both.
we could trade it. But no, That's crazy. Wow. All right, well, there you go again. I don't know what you guys think of these, but I think it demonstrates at least the potential for some of these connections to be that profound. I don't know, it's pretty amazing. Let's go to the next one, twin language. My dad and his brother weren't twins and actually 2 years apart in age. Why am I reading this? This about twins. My uncle didn't speak for the first 5 years of his life in anything but a made-up language that for some reason my dad understood perfectly. He couldn't speak it back, but everything my uncle said was clear as day to my dad. Well, that's a whole different level of weird, right?
Yeah, it is.
That was by Lanissa Mystery. Okay, that's strange. I don't know what to make of that one. That's kind of like, you know, those weird cryptid reports where it's like one time this one thing happened and that was it and it never happened again. And this is kind of like one of those because I've never heard of that before. I've heard of people like suddenly speaking a language they couldn't have learned, like people suddenly have a head injury and they can speak French or something like that. But I don't know what this made up language would be and why the older sibling would hear it and understand it.
Yeah, I can speak French. I know you don't like swearing on the show, though. That is weird that they have like a made up language. That is odd,
isn't it? That's really strange.
But they weren't twins.
They weren't. They were a couple years apart. I don't understand that, but maybe it's maybe it's not necessarily having to be a twin, but maybe it has to do with that genetic similarity again. I don't know. Maybe that's a good point. I don't know. All right, our minds work the same way as the next one. My twin sister and I both took Spanish in 8th grade from the same teacher, but we were in different class periods. Well, at the start of every new lesson, we would watch a video introducing what we were about to learn. Our teacher would always ask us if we had any questions after the video finished, and several times I was the only one with a question, and when I would ask it, our teacher would turn white and say, "Your sister was the only one with a question last period, and it was the exact same question." It happened about 5 times over the course of the year. It was deleted, so I can't attribute that to anybody, but that's interesting. Yeah. I don't know. Is that one weird? Maybe not. Maybe there's just the way their brains work. They came to the same conclusion. Oh, this is actually the end right here. So let's just read this one and be done with it. We forget who did what. Sometimes my twin and I will forget who did what. Like, I'll have a specific memory of something, even from a few years ago, and she'll go, "No, I did that." And sometimes it's confusing and annoying because I'll have such a vivid memory of doing it, but she did too, the exact same way. That was by Happy Camper 991. So, shared memories. You know, somebody's always trying to take credit for someone else. That's maybe not so spooky. That's just being a dick. I don't know, but I hope you guys enjoyed that article. I realize it's maybe not as paranormal as most of the stuff we go through, but I think this kind of, I don't know if it's psychic connection or some connection that defies our understanding is displayed in at least some of these. Some of these I don't know if they're quite as profound as some of the others, but the whole referred pain and all of that, I think is pretty incredible. Like one gets hit and the other one feels it. That's a profound, you almost wonder, like, and I don't know, there's no way to quantify this. It's just a wild idea that's occurring to me, but I almost wonder if, like, is it possible that they share a soul? You know, like there's part of the soul in each one. And I don't know, any twins out there are probably throwing stuff at their screen right now, and I apologize. But I mean, you try to understand how could there be such a profound level of connection just because they I don't know if they came from the same egg. Is that what happens in identical twins or something like that? But how does that connection happen?
I think it makes me wonder sometimes if we're all connected on some level. I was doing a blog the other day. It's a little bit off topic, but have you ever had a dream where your teeth are falling out?
God, yes.
Hate
those. Oh, they're the worst.
I don't know if people in the chat have ever had that dream. I think everyone's had that dream.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you have that dream? Is you're losing control in your life, like you feel like you have no control.
Oh.
And so when you have that reoccurring dream that your teeth are falling out, it's very specific to no control. And if you think back to when you had that dream, there's probably a lot going on in your life that you can control. But there was like I'm writing a blog on it. There's like 6 things that we all, I mean, I've never heard of anyone having that dream before, but then you ask people and they're like, "Oh yeah, I've had that dream."
Yeah.
Or like a dream like you're falling, or it makes me wonder if we're all connected in some weird way. Cause that really isn't like programming.
Yeah.
You know, like something you saw on TV.
I was just thinking about another weird dream that I think a lot of people have had, and maybe I'm about to embarrass the hell out of myself, but I will dream that I like go to work without pants on and I'm just in my underwear. And it's so freaking mortifying, and you're like trying to cover up with folders and anything.
I've had that dream. It's very common. That's another one that's very common.
Well, I wonder what that one means, because I've had that one. I it was just last week I had one where I even though I dropped my little son off at school and I dropped him off late, then I realized in my dream as this adult that I was late for school too. And I was panicking, like, what am I going to do? And then I couldn't get there. I couldn't figure out how to get there. It was like, but I knew I was an adult. It was just so dumb. I don't know. I don't know what to make of dreams. Sometimes dreams are so incredibly profound, and they have these, like, I know that I really believe that I've met with deceased loved ones and had these connection moments that were just so important to my own healing. And then others
in your dreams.
Yeah. It's one that I've shared before, but I'll go over it quick if you're interested. But my dad and I had a real challenged relationship. We loved each other very dearly, but it was just
you did tell me this story.
Yeah,
you can tell it for the audience, but you did tell me the story.
I think my audience has probably heard it a bunch of times, but basically, he passed away, and I had all these things that left unsaid, and I was just distraught because it was like carrying a brick, and then I had this incredibly lucid dream where I was in the house and in his house, and he was standing there, and I knew he was dead, but he was there, and we embraced and shared tears and apologies and had this healing moment. And I realize that skeptics might say, well, that's just, a production of your subconscious trying to come to terms with this, unresolved sadness. But I'm telling you, Wes, it was more real than me sitting right here. It was just so real. And
do you remember seeing his face?
Everything, his face. I remember the feel.
I've been more than a dream then, because you ever notice in dreams like you can never really see a person's face?
I guess I don't usually remember my dreams, and that's why it's profound that I did, and so clearly. But I guess I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's true. But like the casual dreams, I can never really remember, except for that one. The ones where I'm like stressed out because I'm in my underwear, or the ones where I couldn't get to school. Those ones stick out, but they're just nonsense, and I know they're nonsense. But yeah, that was very, very real, and it was very important, because I woke up just bawling, but it was so beautiful to finally say those things that I knew I was able to share it with him. So it was very healing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might have been something more to it. Like I said, in most dreams, if you ever notice, you know who the person is, but if you think back, you never saw their face.
Yes.
It's just kind of, it's kind of like you never remember going from like point A to point B in a dream. Right. You're just there.
Yep. You just jump around, but you accept that you jumped around. It's like you never even question it. Yeah.
You don't question it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird psychology.
There's been a few times where I've questioned it, actually, where like I've almost been in a nightmare and I start to almost kind of realize that I'm in a dream, that this isn't real. And about that time I wake up.
You snap yourself out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's a good save on that one. I hate nightmares.
Yeah. We both.
Okay, well, that was a decent article. And again, I don't know, maybe it was not as interesting to some of you guys, but I don't know. Brent, have you ever gotten hurt in your dream and wake up and have bruises where you got hurt at? No, I don't think so, BJ. I don't think I've ever had that. I mean, I woke up with scratches, but I can't say I didn't scratch myself or have something happen during a dream where I might have scratched myself against something. So I've never had that happen either. Have you, Wes?
No. I can't think of a time that I have.
Yeah. Yep. All right, guys. If any of you guys have questions for Mr. Germer, you are welcome to ask away in the chat, and we'll watch for them. But and whatever you feel like asking, as long as it's appropriate for my show. I'm not looking to get demonetized, so keep it nice. But we'll watch the chat for that. Have you ever had any strange dreams that you thought were more profound, Wes?
Yeah, I've had one where I was actually in the pyramid.
Ooh.
I talked about it with Merkel, and I was kind of freaking out when I woke up. because, you know, like in dreams, I can't say that I've ever been hot or like uncomfortable from the heat. It seems like the environment doesn't really affect you that much in dreams.
Yes, right.
But I had this dream. I was in the pyramid, and I've never been there. And I chalked it up to maybe I was researching the pyramids too much. But I was in the pyramid, and I remember being hot and just it smelled old. That's the other thing is in most dreams, I don't think you remember smells, but I remember it smelling old. It was hot. And there was this guy explaining to me that it was a power station and that to this day, there's still water that runs underneath the pyramid. And he was he was explaining the whole thing. And for some reason in my dream, I understood everything he was saying. I'm sure if he explained it to me when I was awake, I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. But he was mixing these different chemicals together. And I kept, you have a Apple MacBook Pro, don't you?
No, I don't. No.
You know that sound Apple makes, that dun dun when you first fire it up?
Yeah.
I kept hearing that over and over and over, that sound, and I can't remember if it's a D chord or what chord it is. It was a weird dream though, man. Like I was just like, I remember being in it and being like, God, I gotta get out of this pyramid because it was dark, it smelled old, and I was hot and just sweating.
Wow.
And I remember when I woke up, I remember I was talking to Merkel, and I was like, I think I've been inside the pyramids. It was just a dream, but it was so vivid.
Right.
That unlike any other dream I've ever had.
That's phenomenal. I think that's cool. Especially the fact that you felt the temperature. I think that's incredibly profound because you're right. I can't remember a dream where I felt like, oh, I'm really hot and uncomfortable or cold. So no, I can't
remember my shirt being drenched in sweat and sweat coming down from top of my head. And
wow.
It was a weird dream. But I got so sick of hearing that dun 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 as it was firing up, and it was like a power station.
Wow.
And he explained the whole thing to me. And
that's interesting though, because I know I was watching a show years ago where this engineer was kind of breaking down a kind of a similar theory about the Great Pyramid, is that it was made for generating power, you know, that it was somehow generating some form of electricity or, you know, whatever through the mechanics of it. And he explained it, and I lost it to the years, but it's interesting to hear you say that, because it's like, wow, that's the second time now. And I've heard it since then too, that other people have come to the conclusion. So that's incredibly profound. That's really cool.
I think it's the same thing as like Tesla's coil.
Yeah. Okay.
It's almost the exact. It's a large scale version of, and I could be wrong. I don't know if it's a power station. I just chalked it up. It's just a really weird, odd dream that I've never.
It really is, but it's cool that it was so lucid. I'm just looking. Android, I saw that you said you put your question in the Discord. Can you tell me where? I don't know where you put it, and I don't have a direct message from you that I see. So we do have one from Barbara Mora over on Rumble. She says, Wes, do you think that before your eye transplant, you would have had an advantage to seeing a Bigfoot?
No. But I could tell you one thing is I could see really well in the dark.
Yeah.
I was getting migraines really, really bad, like during the day. So imagine like holding a diamond up to your eye.
Yeah.
You know how like the light just shoots everywhere?
Yeah.
That's what it was like driving. That's what it was like seeing like outside when it was sunny. I was really only comfortable in the dark, and I could see pretty well in the dark, better than I could now.
Okay.
But yeah, to answer her question, no, I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Okay. And I think that was what her question was aiming to, like seeing better in low light.
Yeah. Absolutely. You can see way better in low light.
Okay. That's really cool.
Woody has that same disease.
Did he get his treated?
Yeah, he had the surgery. I think mine's actually coming back.
Oh no.
But
okay.
Yeah, I won't go through it again. You don't realize how painful any sort of surgery on your eye, like when I would walk, just the pressure from walking, I could feel in my eye after the surgery. I mean, it was probably one of the most painful things I've ever gone through. I'll never do it again. I'd rather be blind than go through that again.
Yeah,
as crazy as that sounds.
I've been shot in the eye. I had a BB go into my right eye, and and it was lodged in there and scraped up. It just tore up the side of my eye, and it was horrible. It was horrible. So I can kind of relate, at least on one eye. But man, I was only 12 at the time, so most of that's gone to the years. But yeah, very wild.
Do you wear glasses?
I do for distance, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I do have a little different vision, and I have no peripheral vision in my right eye at all. So it's like all nothing over
What's that
here.
from?
Getting shot in the eye with a BB gun.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It went in right here, and it went in the back of my eye socket. It tore up the whole side of my eye, and it stayed there for a better part of a month until it finally migrated out, and then they did a surgery to remove the rest of it.
I got like an eye phobia thing, man. I don't do well. Like when people touch their eyes and stuff, I'm just like, please stop. Yeah. Like watching someone put contact. It's a weird phobia. Yeah. Watching someone put, I'd rather be waterboarded than watch someone put contact in.
Well, there is that. But yeah, I'm kind of the same way when it comes to eyes. It's like anything dealing with eyes, like those movies where they do those contraptions, they hold the eyes open. Like, oh God. Yeah, it makes my eyes just start tearing. It's horrible stuff. We do have a couple questions in the chat. Sorry,
I'll try and watch the chat a little bit.
No, it's fine. It's from SFHSFU64W. Was Phil Schneider telling the truth? You know who Phil Schneider was, Wes?
Yeah, I absolutely believe he was telling the truth.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they killed him because he talked too much.
Yeah.
And his death is one of those like strangled by his own, what was it? Some medical cord or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, like a CPAP machine or something like that. Yeah. Somehow it got wrapped around his neck.
What's that thing you pee in with the cord? I think that's what he was actually. But he actually talked about them going. He told his wife before he died, if it comes out that I committed suicide, they killed me. I have no intentions on killing myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely believe Phil Schneider, 100%.
Yeah, very good. The same person's asking, what do you make of Matthew Johnson's cap? Xanu or ZXANUE? I don't know anything about that personally.
Yeah, Xanu. I think, and I know this will probably piss him off, me saying this. I think he's probably, I think he's experienced strange things, but I think he's experiencing, I know you guys don't like the word demonic on the channel, but
oh no, it's fine.
There's some demonic stuff going on. Like one time he was in his bedroom, he did like a Facebook Live. And he was like, oh, all these Bigfoots, and him and his wife were in their bed. And he was like, oh, these Bigfoots, you got to leave me alone, guys. And then he put his camera up, and there was literally ghost orbs flying around. You could see them on camera. It wasn't Bigfoot, but it was like these ghost orbs. What was her original question? I just went off on like
just what do you make of Matthew Johnson's camp Xanu? And
I think sometimes he probably does experience stuff, but I'm not so sure it's Sasquatch.
Okay.
And I always get nervous when people say they're the chosen one. It's like, okay.
Oh, yeah. That's always...
catheter. That's what it was. Thanks.
Oh, you said a machine you pee in, and I'm thinking, what machine do you pee in?
Yeah, catheter. He was strangled by his catheter.
Oh, yeah, that's really an insult, isn't it? I mean, take a guy out, just get a rope. Don't do it with his own catheter, for God's sakes. That's disgusting. I mean, it's disgusting anyway, but you know what I mean. That's just like insult to injury. All right. Rachel gets it right. She's kind of making a statement about the twins. Brent, maybe the twins like this, an egg split. It's like the leaf that is cut, and the missing leaf in Carillion photo has a phantom leaf, a force field. Maybe twins share this force field too. That's it.
I didn't follow any of that.
Well, there's a type of photography called Carillion photography, and basically, like if you take a leaf and you put it on the plates, it'll show this electrical, like a beautiful electrical. It looks like almost like a circuit, but it shows the shape of the leaf. You don't actually see the leaf, but you see the shape of the leaf appear in like this, like 1,000 lightning bolts or whatever going out in different, and it's called Carillion photography. And what people have done is if you take the leaf off and then cut it, and you remove that piece and then put it down, it'll show the cut but then like a ghost image of the rest of the leaf appears in those lightning bolts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. So she's suggesting maybe that's something to do with the twin thing. Like maybe there's a split and it is kind of a sharing of energy like that. Okay.
Could be.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. All right, I'm going through the chat here. What T-Bone's asking, what keeps Wes up at night?
Separation from God. That's about the only thing I worry about anymore in life.
Oh, yeah. That's very profound. Yeah. I was waiting for something cheeky, and then you got all solid on me, brother. That was good. I like that answer. Yeah, I think we're all concerned about that, brother, honestly. Just scrolling quick. Nothing else on Rumble. Question from the same person. SFH, you're just nailing the question board. That's incredible. Is the Freemasons' beloved Baphomet a Goatman cryptid?
No.
No. Okay.
No, it's Baal.
Oh, yeah. Baal. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the half goat, half man. Same as a satanic symbol, but they kind of. Me and my son were just talking about this. He was asking me where the Freemasons came from, and I think that they're a branch off from the Knights Templar.
That's what I was
I told him
thinking.
the whole story about the Knights Templar, how they were all murdered basically because they owed the King of France. He couldn't pay back the debt. That's why they were actually killed.
Right.
But he came up with all this BS. But I don't know. Those Knights Templar were into a lot of symbolism. They were into a lot of. That's I think where the Freemasons come from.
Okay. Yeah.
And their symbolism. There's a lot of creepy symbolism. I mean, I could be wrong.
Sure.
But what else is a half man, half goat?
Pan. But
What's that?
Pan from mythology. The Greek mythology, the half man, half goat is like a pan, or fawn is another descriptive name that they used back then in more of a mythology. But yeah, but I hear you. I know that it's often depicted as the half man, half goat of satanic worship. Yes.
And I'm not saying all Freemasons are,
No, right.
worship. Yeah.
No, absolutely.
I've known a few Freemasons. They're actually pretty nice guys. So
Yeah, so have I. Yeah. The unknown. No, we don't. He's capitalized this. The unknown in the chat says. So you're saying you don't hold your eyes open with toothpicks to stay awake? No.
No.
I think we can safely say neither Wes nor I.
I love sleeping.
Yeah.
My favorite. It's my favorite.
Favorite recreation.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't sleep very often though. I usually only sleep about 4 hours a night. So
yeah, I kind of struggle with it too. I would love to get a lot of restful sleep, but I'm really sporadic in my sleep. Up and down. Yep.
I'm kind of a dick when I only have 4 hours of sleep. So
Me too. Same person again, SFHSFU64W. Do you think cryptids come from the underground alien/demon bases Phil Schneider exposed?
it could be. I mean, I was doing this whole thing on the rock apes, and we're gonna hopefully Brent will join me tomorrow for my members live. But I'm gonna go into the rock apes, and I spent like hours and hours and hours researching that. And I mean, this isn't a direct answer to the question, but you have all these soldiers. They talk about this one battle that they had. It's on the blog. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is you have all these soldiers who have been trained to kill. They've been trained to shoot. They've been trained. You often hear where soldiers will just react based on their training. They don't think, they just react. Mm-hmm. And all these soldiers killed, or they claim to have shot all these rock apes. Oh. No bodies. There was blood, but only footprints. And they were in like a close battle with these things. And because they originally thought it was the enemy. But it makes me think of today, like, where's the body? And here we go back. And even the Marines at that time, the report is, they're like, we don't know where they went. We hit them several times, and they didn't quite react like a person or an animal being shot. Oh. It does make me wonder, though.
Yeah.
With regard to Sasquatch, because there's a lot of weird things with Sasquatch. Not always does it get reported. There's the reports of where you have a hunter or you have a hiker run into Sasquatch, and there's nothing weird that happens. They see each other and then they part ways.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other reports where you're like, what in the world? And you hear it over and over and over again. And it's like when I was on the Browns property, I remember asking Jonathan, like, where did they go? Like, where are they at on the property? No clue.
Oh.
No idea where they went. They just kind of showed up and then they were gone. So, I don't know.
So maybe there really is merit to them being at least partially subterranean.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Makes me wonder where they go.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
And I've asked many people who've had them on their property, where do you think they stay?
Mm-hmm.
No one ever has an answer. Everyone's like, I don't know. Strange.
Now, let's just say, for instance, let's say your property, you live in a rural area and you had these things show up. And I know the answer for me is hell no, but would you have the gumption to go look for where they go personally?
I did that on the Browns property.
Oh, okay. I wasn't familiar with this. Okay.
Couldn't find them.
Okay. So no.
Could not find them. And Sarah has a picture of one. I have it somewhere. I don't know if I can share on here, but it's a picture of one with its head above a bush, looking right at them. And I know where that bush is at. That bush is only like 20, 30 feet away from their backyard.
Oh, geez.
But you'd find prints, but you could never figure out where they went. And I don't quite understand the structures. I don't think they're staying in the structures, but I don't understand why they build them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a hunting blind is the only thing I can think of.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I've looked for them. Jonathan and I walked all over that property, and there was no place where you'd think they would be hiding.
But they're pretty convinced that they're always on the property, or is it possible that they're migrating into the property repeatedly?
This was nights where we would hear them.
Oh.
I mean, you could hear them screaming, you could hear them yelling, you could hear them talking, you could hear them, but you could never figure out where they were at.
Oh, okay.
Like where they stayed. It's like they only showed up when they wanted to show up. There is one, I've told this story before. I'm sure your audience has heard it a million times, but, and I don't know if you've heard it, Brent. There was one night we were out there on the Browns property, and we walked all over that property.
Okay.
There was like 6 or 7 of us. And we decided to take a break in this barn, and it was a kind of an open barn. It had windows, but there was no glass. All the windows were open, and we were sitting in there. I think it had just started raining, so we kind of like took shelter in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I look out and I see it looked like a light, like a flashlight from the 80s bobbing, like someone walking with a flashlight.
Oh.
And I immediately thought, oh, well, we were probably too loud, and that must be one of your neighbors. And it didn't hit me till the next day. His nearest neighbor's like 15 acres away, 20 acres away.
Oh no.
And we watched this light, and I was like, oh, it's one of your neighbors. And I was just like, whatever. And I go back to chilling in the barn. Well, we had one of the guys had a thermal.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at it through a thermal, and he goes, I can't see it. There's nothing there. And I thought he was talking about he didn't see a person.
Right.
But what he was saying is, not only did he not see a person, he couldn't see that ball of light on thermal.
So there's no heat.
It was blank. You could only see it with the naked eye. And I just interviewed another guy that said the exact same thing, where they had these 3 lights on their in this hunting property that he has. Mm-hmm. And they had a thermal, but they didn't show up on thermal. And anyway, this light goes, and it's coming to the barn, but it looks like it's kind of walking up a hill.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then when he said he couldn't see it through the thermal, I walked over. Everyone's at the window, and I walk over and I start looking, and it looked like we had noticed it, and it looked like it dived down into what I thought was the ground, and then it was gone. And Jonathan and I walk out of the barn. We were shining our lights over there. It wasn't a hill. It's all sticker bushes.
Oh.
But without putting your light on it, it kind of looked like it went up on this little. And Jonathan and I were talking. I pull him aside, and there's another metal building right next to the barn. So Jonathan and I are talking. I'm like, Jonathan, what was that? Have you seen these lights before? He's like, no, I've never seen it before. I don't know what that. And about the time he finishes answering, it sounded like a truck hit that metal building right. You know, when you're talking to someone, you're only like a foot or two away.
Right.
It sounded like it hit right between us, right next to that. And I almost fell back on my butt because I was in such shock.
Yeah.
But sometimes I wonder about those lights, man.
Yeah.
And Sasquatch, you know, if there's some weird connection. I don't remember what the original question was.
No, it was we were talking about the subterranean possibility, but then the lights. Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, the lights are weird, man. They show up a lot on people's property.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of those either, because they're attributed to a lot of different things. Ghost lights, you know, the old conductor on the, you know, the where the train derailed, the derelict conductor still walking the tracks, you know, all that stuff. But it also comes up in Bigfoot, it comes up in hauntings, it comes up in UFOs, and it's hard. I wish I knew.
I talked to a guy from Australia. He was an Aboriginal elder, and this is probably 13 years ago. And at the time, I thought he was crazy. But he was telling me about their legend in Australia with the Yowies and how they travel in balls of light.
Oh, really?
And I thought he was. I'm like, I'm sure there's medication for what this guy has. Now I've been in this. I'm like, I don't know. That old man might have been right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just hard to get our heads around that. You know, I mean, it's such a departure from our Western thinking. It's like, oh, they turn into balls of light and then they, you know, bounce around and then become big, you know, hairy beings again. And how do you reconcile that with, you know, our modern thinking? And I don't know. I still struggle with it too, but it's not that I discount the possibility. I just don't know how to intellectualize that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, though, I did capture that ball of light on night vision, on a night vision camera.
Okay.
But for some reason, I've heard many times they don't show up on thermal. And I just find that strange.
Wow.
I guess it's only picking up heat, and that means it's not putting off heat, I guess. I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, if it's forward-looking infrared, it just isn't emitting heat. But speaking of that, and another ghost light incident, and this one was on TV. I don't know if it was Monsters and Mysteries or whatever, but it was one of those famous places they were investigating with the ghost lights and stuff and all these orbs. And they had Generation 1 night vision, which you know is green. And they were shooting it, and sure enough, you know, they'd show the footage from this camera. It was all green. Everything's green, different shades of green, or black, and that's it. It has one tone. It's monochromatic, meaning it could only show colors of green. But they had one of those orbs appear, and even on this camera, and the manufacturers were given this footage, and they couldn't explain it. The orb that was recorded on that camera as they're watching through the feed was blue, and it was blue on the recorded media too. And then the engineers were like, well, that shouldn't be possible. It can only make green. So I don't know. We're definitely dealing with some strange stuff.
Yeah, that's how my night vision camera was. The one Woody and I recorded, it was blue, but in the night vision, everything's that chrome green color.
Yeah. So it was blue for you. Oh.
Yeah.
No,
but on the night vision, it was chrome green. It wasn't looking blue to me.
But it did with your eyes?
With the naked eye, it was blue. Yeah,
Okay.
it was a real soft blue light, but it didn't show up in color on my night vision.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I'll have to dig up that video sometime for you.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. That'd be really cool. Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's go to a different question here. Chucky Dangers, have either of you seen the show The Age of Disclosure? I haven't. Have you?
I haven't. It's still in theaters, isn't it, Chucky?
I think so. I think it's still an early release, whatever it is. Yeah.
I heard it's really good. I was looking for it on Prime the other day, but
Okay.
I guess it's still in theaters. I will definitely watch it.
Yeah, as will I, as soon as it gets available to me. If I don't have to leave my house.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Wes, do you believe in the mysteries of Trout Lake? From Vincent Sanchez.
Is that with the lake monster?
I don't know. I don't know what Trout Lake, the mysteries of Trout Lake is. Vince, if you can give us any clarification, I'd appreciate it. I'm not sure personally. It's not familiar to me.
The Trout Lake, and what do you call it?
Said, do you believe in the mysteries of Trout Lake?
Well, that's kind of a broad question.
Yeah, I don't know what it means either.
Right here, the term. Yeah, it was a trout. That's what I thought. The Trout Lake monster.
Okay.
And the lady in the lake, I guess, is another. I don't know. I really don't know. I guess I haven't looked into it that much.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I don't know either. I didn't even know the context of that. So you did bring some clarity to it. From SFHS again. Wes, what protection is there from cryptids?
When you say what protection, what do you mean?
Well, I assume, how do you protect yourself?
Like if you run into one? Is that what they're asking?
I don't know. Or is it if they're harassing your location, how do you protect from that or keep them from doing it? I don't know. It could be either. It's not really, that was the whole of the question.
I think if they're on your property, spiraling 69 to shotgun, not a bad idea. Yeah, I think if I had that whole conversation, you did it on last show, or maybe it was a show before, where the father, they just started showing up on his property, and he left and actually went to a hotel.
Yes. Yep. That was from your blog. Yeah.
I think if you light up the property and you buy the cheapest game cams possible and put them all over the place. I told him to have one game cam looking at the other one.
Yeah.
So they're all, it's eyes all around. I think that they'll back off if you light up the property and you set up game cams.
Okay. Yeah.
Shooting, I think in a lot of situations, and it goes back to even the Rock Apes thing, and we'll go into it more tomorrow, Brent, but there was Green Berets that came upon the Rock Apes, not only one, but like a family group. And they just sat there and observed. And the Rock Apes weren't aggressive towards these Green Berets at all.
Oh, cool.
But when they started shooting at them in like the previous battle, they were extremely aggressive. So sometimes that can turn south on you if you start just blasting away.
Yeah.
I think it's best not to engage with them and light the place up and start setting up cameras everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, they'll lose interest.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I hope that answered that question. I'm not sure if that really.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's as good as interpretation as I could make. I think it, because I mean, if you're standing face to face with a 10-foot Bigfoot, there's really no way to protect yourself. You're going to get hurt if it wants to hurt you, and that's about all you can do. Is just decide what kind of a man you're going to go out as.
Yeah.
Crying in the fetal position, or I'm just going to stand up and take it. Let's see.
I think 9 times out of 10, if you leave, they'll leave you alone.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. I mean, they obviously, the big fallback in my mind is that, look, if they wanted you dead, you probably wouldn't even have known they were there and you'd be dead. I just don't think we are even able to compete, physically with these things, whatever they are. Let's see. From Poncho Zorch, when did Rake become a paranormal entity? Go ahead. Yeah. What do you think of that?
I was going to say, and we can come back to that. Texas Man in Black says, Wes, the Age of Disclosure is streaming now. Where's it streaming at, Texas Man?
Yeah, please let us know.
Anyway, the Rake question, when did it become
a paranormal entity?
I think the Rake has always been a paranormal entity. It's just gone by different names throughout the ages. It's I think you've even said it before, Brent. It's like the ghoul.
Yep.
And I think before that it had a different name. But I think the Rake's been around for a long time.
I think so too. Yep.
The term rake only came out in what, the 90s?
Yeah.
Something
Like
that,
a creepypasta thing. Yep. Kind of like the Slender Man thing.
Yeah, and I don't think the rake is creepypasta though. I think it's a real thing.
Oh yeah, no, I do too. I just think the term came from like a creepypasta. But yeah, I think you're right.
Amazon Prime. Well, I gotta go watch that. Age of Disclosure.
It's on.
Have a good night, everyone.
I've
been really wanting.
It's streaming tomorrow night.
Yeah,
Nighty night. Oh no, you can't go yet. I'm not letting you to go yet. There was another question. Wes, why do cryptids hang in cemeteries?
They're not always in cemeteries.
Mm-hmm.
There's
true.
reports of them there, but I think a lot of when it comes to like Sasquatch or, we'll go with Sasquatch, for example. I think a lot of it is watching behavior.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do we do when we go to cemeteries? We bring flowers, we cry. And I think they're just as fascinated in our behavior as we are with them. And I think that I don't think it has so much to do with anyone being dead, at least when it comes to Sasquatch. I think a lot of those old cemeteries, man, you'll find them out in the woods in the middle of nowhere. It's like forgotten cemeteries. And I don't think there's anything malicious because it's a cemetery. They're going to be around there.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion.
Yep. Oh, here's a question from the unknown. If I could, I'd like to ask Wes, not Wes, not where the K came from. Sorry about that. When he has a guest on his channel, I don't know how to ask. I guess, do you, Wes, believe that all of your guests are telling you the truth? That's a great question for any of us. Yeah.
I think the bulk of them are. I think out of all the people I've had on, maybe a handful I wasn't so sure about, but I'm really not the judge, jury, and executioner of people. I try very hard to do my best every week. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I actually do try and put a lot of thought into the show.
Yeah.
There was a guy I had on, it was episode 419, Anthony. And he had this crazy story, man, but I actually believe him. And I'll tell you why I believe him. He went on and on about this younger female, almost like he was talking about a woman, like a human woman. And it was almost kind of uncomfortable sitting there because I don't have a lot of love for Sasquatch. So I'm like, you know, but it's not, if you're going to make up a story, you're not going to include you kind of lusting over this young Sasquatch female talking about her bubble butt. You're talking about.
I remember that episode now.
Yeah. I mean, you're not going to include that if you're making up a story. And there was a lot of things in his encounter that if he was making stuff up, he wouldn't have said. Mm-hmm. Just because it makes him look like a weirdo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, most of them I do. I do believe most of the guests that do come forward.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's another thing to say. I and from my own perspective, I don't always understand the experiences people have had, and I don't always know how to wrap my head around it. But I don't think I'm so vain as to say, like, I'm the gatekeeper of truth, like whatever I think is real or not. So I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, and if I have a doubt, and it's not that I believe everything they say because I can't understand it, but I believe they experienced something incredible, and they have a right to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I've been doing this long enough to now I can almost tell you how the Sasquatch is going to react. Not because I'm some genius. I've just heard, like, if I encountered a Sasquatch again, I think I would have the upper hand because I would almost tell you exactly what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. And I could be wrong. Watch it get eaten by a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you hear stuff that's way outside of their normal behavior, I've heard, I'm always like, I don't know about that.
Right. Yeah.
Again, I'm really not the judge, jury, and executioner either. So
yeah.
who am I?
I mean, you've definitely talked to probably more experiencers than anybody on the face of the earth at this point. So
I don't know about that, but yeah, I've definitely talked to a lot.
yeah,
More than I've ever aired.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I couldn't imagine how many episodes you'd have if you aired every one of those.
Yeah, there was one where I was talking to a guy from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Vietnam vet, and he went into like full detail about the rock apes and their experiences with them. I begged him to come on the show. He would not come on the show.
Oh,
But
really?
he really gave a lot of insight about the rock apes and talking about Monkey Hill, guys being thrown off Monkey Hill.
Oh, wow.
We'll go into it tomorrow, but
Sure.
yeah, I begged him to come on. So sometimes people don't want to come on, and that's okay.
Sure. Yeah. Not everybody's can handle the strain, because it's a different experience. You know, like I was on your show before I had a podcast, and I got to tell you, it was pretty stressful, not in a bad way, but it's just, man, it's intimidating. But you do a great job over there, and you always make people feel really comfortable. So
I try.
yeah.
I try.
Well, that one we read, where how did I get that one? Got more questions. Okay. The Unknown's also asking, I've always wanted to ask Wes a couple of questions. I have a chance. Do you believe that Sasquatch can be, I'm just trying to interpret what he typed, can be Gigantopithecus blackie? Do you think that that's what Sasquatch is or was known as, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Gigantopithecus didn't eat meat. It wasn't a meat eater.
It's herbivore.
It ate bamboo, and then you hear about Sasquatch's behavior, and most of the time they're killing meat to eat. But we don't know a lot about Gigantopithecus. We just have jawbones, and they kind of do what they think it looked like. Kind of like same thing with Neanderthals, and they don't know what Neanderthals actually look like. They're guessing on most of it, you know. But to answer your question, I don't believe that it is Gigantopithecus.
You know, one thing about the Gigantopithecus thing that just blows me away is that, and I think they've found more of it since the whole idea formed. But I mean, they basically built this creature, what it looked like and everything, out of just a few molars and some piece of a jawbone. And that to me just blows, it really cooks my bacon. It's like, how in the hell can you look at a tooth and go, well, clearly this was this, and they had it all built out and stuff. And I guess it's probably remained true in light of newer discoveries, but don't they think that might be some early version or predecessor or close relative to orangutan?
Yeah, I think it was close to orangutan, actually.
Yep.
But it even goes with some dinosaurs. You know, some dinosaurs, they only have like the head, and they just kind of make up the body and the tail and everything else. Even some of these dinosaurs that you think that's what they look like.
Wow.
There's a lot of dinosaurs where they don't find the full skeleton, and they kind of, I don't want to say make up, they guess, educated guess
right,
of what the body and everything else. So there's a lot of things in history to where it's a guess. They're guessing.
Yeah. But it's I'm going to spiderweb off of this, but this is another thing that just blows my way. Because the sciences, I think, are incredibly good at what they do in predictive models and stuff like that. I'm also marveling at the fact that they can look at a star that would be like, hundreds of thousands of light years away, and they can examine that star and know how many planets are circling it because of what happens with the light. And then they can also tell which ones have atmospheres because of the refraction of the light coming through that. And they can tell you what gases are in the atmosphere and stuff. It's like, oh my God, these people are like scary. Like, I don't know. That just really is incredible to me.
Sorry, I was muted out. Yeah, it is scary. I don't trust anything that comes out of NASA, like the three eye atlas.
Oh my God.
All we can get is a blurry. That's what makes me think I don't think it's normal. Something natural.
Did you see the image that amateur astronomer took of it with an $800 telescope?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing where he shows it, and
it's beautiful. And
it
NASA
looks like something's flying there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm telling you, I really want. I'm on record saying I got confirmation bias, but I want that to be a mothership. I just want it to be a mothership.
Makes you wonder, why is a guy with an $800 telescope coming back with better images than NASA from, especially from what you just explained, how they can show you different galaxies and they can tell you everything about it.
Yeah.
When you look at the pictures,
they
look like glamour shots.
Right. You could see a mouse nipple from space with some of our satellites, but you get foggy headlights for
Bigfoot blobs of the 3.8. Yeah.
It's like, really? That math isn't working. I don't get it, but
do you know where that thing's at in our solar system, where it's actually located right now?
I think it's by Jupiter. Just went by Jupiter.
Okay.
I think there was a prediction. I don't know if it still holds true, but it was going to be closest to the Earth at around December 17th or 18th, something like that. But I don't know if that's still the predictive model, because it turns and does weird things they weren't expecting. So, yeah. But
that's a weird thing too for a quote unquote comet. It sure seems to make a lot of like 90-degree angles and like these weird turns. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Even the way it entered orbit was just absolutely atypical. It's like 0.2% of a chance that it could happen that way naturally. And yet it came in like that, just like Oumuamua before it. Both of these things came in and were already exhibiting strange things. But I guess the last thing Avi Loeb thought or postulated in theory, that perhaps it was going to deposit probes on Jupiter as it went by. So I don't know. I don't know how what happened.
You wonder though where he came up with that, because I read that too, and I'm like,
yeah, well, they must have seen it break off or something. Some parts come off, and I don't know. I haven't been following it real diligently, but I've been keeping an eye on the headlights when they come. So whatever it is, I think it's cool, but they're not giving us the whole story, and I don't know why. Okay.
What's that, Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. It's a total mind screw.
Way off topic, but did you see where scientists found under Antarctica that there's this landscape that's basically this ancient landscape where there's rivers and there's it's this beautiful landscape, not like what you would think of Antarctica, but it's actually underneath the sheet of ice.
Oh, wow.
And as they're describing it, if you go back and read what Admiral Byrd said he saw when they were looking for Nazis back in the mid 40s,
right,
it's almost identical to what the scientists said about that place, because he described it that way too. He said there's rivers and there's these mountains and it's just this beautiful, warm, and it was underneath the ice. And now scientists are like, hey, underneath the ice. Well, he said that back, in
the 40s, yeah.
I think it's 45, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. No, I don't. I think I might have seen a blurb about it, but I just kind of passed it by. But now that you're mentioning it, it's like, oh, yeah, there was something I saw somewhere. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all if there was a whole world under there. Maybe that's where the dinosaurs all went. Who knows? Yeah. But I'm looking for any more questions. Here we go. What's the best photo of Bigfoot have you seen, Wes? That's from Sasquatch.
Boy, that one's hard. There's a guy in the Columbia River Gorge that has them on his property, and he actually gets pictures of them, but it's always kind of from a distance, but not that far away. They're like going in between trees. That's some pretty good pictures I've seen there. Traditionally, everyone says the Patterson-Gimlin film, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But as far as pictures go, I'd probably say his pictures. Yeah.
Okay. Fair
and
enough.
they're daytime pictures, and it's not a guy running around in a suit. And this guy is half blind. He's half blind, and he's like 90 years old. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Wow. And it sounds like he's doing okay with them being there. Like it's not a horrible experience, eh?
Yeah, there's this weird thing that happens with people when these creatures are on their property. It's like they become so used to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really freak them out anymore. I remember one time I was at the Browns and you heard this just scream that went on, God, for like 20 seconds. And we're sitting in the living room and I'm like, oh my God. And like Jonathan and Sarah didn't even flinch. Like they heard it a million times.
Right.
I think when people have them on their property, I think that the weird becomes the normal. That's the only thing I can think of, you know?
Yep. I believe it. You just get desensitized, I suppose. Yep.
Yeah.
The unknown coming in with a question. The Ape Canyon experience. Whoops, it scrolled up. Sorry. Where the hell did it go? Unknown, your thing just disappeared on me. You guys are typing too quick. I don't know what unknown, what you asked. I was going to read it, but I'm actually going so slow that the chat's disappearing here. I'll go to Rachel, gets it right. 632. Do you think Bigfoot structures on the ground might coincide with constellations in the night sky? That is, if Bigfoot looks up at the stars in the night sky.
I never thought about that before.
That's really a cool idea, though. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I've always taken them as kind of blinds.
Right.
Something to hide behind or...
Right.
That's an interesting thought, Rachel.
Yeah, it is. Very cool, Rachel. I don't know. That'd be interesting if somebody could correlate anything like that. But, I mean, they're so temporary. They don't last like a brick structure. So they kind of come and go with the seasons. But let's see. Let me keep scrolling here. I truly believe Bigfoot is involved with the aliens, says 420 Man from the West. Could be. I don't know, personally. Do you have any thoughts on that, Wes?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know on that one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's wild speculation. But okay, Vincent Sanchez comes back and says, I used to, I guess, live. He left out the word live, maybe. In Washington, I've always found Trout Lake and Mount Adams strange. Have you ever researched there?
I have. And Mount Adams is weird. There's a lot of UFO sightings up there. A lot of people disappear up there.
Ooh.
On most nights, you can see weird stuff flying around that mountain.
Oh.
But I've never had any sort of Bigfoot encounter, but he's not wrong. That place is creepy.
It's creepy up there. Okay. Why does that question keep coming up? Yeah, we already did the protection from cryptids. If you're asking that repeatedly, we already went over that, but I appreciate the questions, everybody.
Shotgun, take the plug out. There's your answer.
Oh, thank you, unknown, but I can't acknowledge that publicly. So, anyway, I'm going to move on. Wes, do you think that the zapping killed Claudia Ackley?
No.
Okay.
Claudia had major health problems before she died.
Oh, I gotcha.
I don't think it had anything to do with that.
No zapping involved in her passing. Most odd place a Sasquatch has ever been seen, from Lenda is asking that.
I would say the desert.
Yeah.
You would think they wouldn't be in the desert, but there's a lot of accounts of them running around the desert. And I think, like the Border Patrol down south, when I chatted with them and they would see them down there, there's nowhere for Sasquatch to hide. There's nowhere to go. I mean, and that's not really like desert I'm talking about. I'm talking about like, what's that military base? It's in California, Pines. I can't think of it. 20.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's, you know where Palm Desert's at?
I don't know.
Palm Desert, California. Anyway, down there, it's hot. It's like 1,000,000 degrees and it's real desert down there. Or in Southern Oregon, more Central Oregon, actually. Central is very desert. And you get a lot of reports out there. 29 Palms. Thank you. 29 Palms, the guys on the military base, I've had them on before that had run-ins with them. And they couldn't figure out where they were coming from. They would see him on night vision running across the desert. And he would say they would get into places that were completely secure. There's no way for them to get in. And they would, and there's nothing they could do about it. But if you look up 29 Palms, it's a desert. There's nothing there. That's the weirdest place, I think, is a desert. You wouldn't think they would be out there, but they are.
Okay. Yeah, I find those reports from deserts just as compelling and bizarre, because otherwise they seem to stick pretty close to water and very humid environments. But yeah, apparently deserts too. Ralph Hammond over in the YouTube chat is asking, Wes, when did werewolves become real for you, and are they also coast to coast?
That's actually a good question. And by werewolves, I'm assuming he means
Dogman, I guess.
Yeah. I'm still finding it cold, as you and I were talking about, Brent, before I came on. So forgive my voice. But I think it was when I interviewed this guy who I always thought people were mistaken when it comes to Dogman. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it must be another branch off of Sasquatch, because I don't buy an upright canine running around. And I had this guy on the show, and he was a famous hunter. Actually, I bought some of his calls when I used to hunt. You go into any hunting store and you buy the pre-made calls. They're his calls. Oh. And he went in depth about seeing this upright canine. He first saw it on all fours and thought it was the biggest wolf he'd ever seen. And I want to say it was on the Louisiana-Texas border. Oh. And he was going to shoot it, and he was kind of hiding in this little spot, and it came up and it was sniffing the air, and then he said it stood up on two legs like a man, and it zeroed in right where he was at, and he was pointing his rifle at it, and it took off running on two legs. And this guy's like 70 years old. He's hunted everything on the planet, and he was in shock. And that's where I kind of thought, well, maybe,
yeah,
it's a weird thing for this old man to make up.
Wow. I just think it's fascinating, because there's so many reports of like hunters looking at Bigfoot through scopes and Dogman through scopes, and they can be quite a distance away, and these things just zero in right on these people as if they're wearing flamboyant orange colors.
Yeah.
That blows my mind. There, something about us is pretty easy for them to see and make out in their own environment.
Sometimes. I had a researcher one time tell me he was on it's kind of a long story. I'll give you the real short version, but he was on this property, and he was watching them through the same night vision camera I have. Mm-hmm. And it's a starlight, but you can press a button on the side that shoots out that infrared beam that lights everything up.
Sure.
And so he was watching them through the starlight, and he was like, is that my neighbors talking? Like, he didn't click it was Bigfoot. He was like, is that my neighbors? And then he hit that button. The minute he hit that button where it shoots out that light, they both turned and looked directly at him.
Oh.
Almost like turning on a spotlight or something.
So it was real obvious to them.
Yeah, real obvious to them. But I have heard what you're talking about, Brent, where guys are looking through the scope, and then it's like all of a sudden Sasquatch just zeroes in on where they're at, which is weird to me. But
yeah. By the way, what do you think of the mind speak thing? I'm kind of curious.
I do think it goes on.
Okay.
I'm leery of, like, you were talking about Matthew Johnson earlier, where he's like, oh, I'm the chosen one. And
right.
Those I'm not so sure about. But like when I talked to Les Stroud, Les is cool as hell, man. I was down at his house in Southern Oregon, and he told me his whole mind speak thing. What happened was he was on this property. I know the people, and I know the property he was on, and they've had some weird stuff go on there. But he said he heard in his head, if you want to see us, stay the night. And about the time he heard that, he looked up, and there was a female and a young juvenile at quite a distance away. And he was like, I'm out. And he left that night. He was like, I'm out of here. This is too weird for me.
Yeah.
So I do think there's something to it.
Yeah.
It gets reported a lot.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes you got to be careful. When you're in a tense situation, your inner soul is like, run, leave, get out. You're in danger. Go.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder if it's some of that, but I do think that it is a weird phenomenon that does go on.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I wonder if there's, if that is indeed the case, then that would seem to suggest some form of telepathy, and maybe that's how they also zero in on people, just like, cold walk and then boom, looking right at the hunter through a scope. Maybe somehow they cue in on not only, the communication part, but, the direction. But I don't know. It's just a
the problem with the mind speak thing, though, is it doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
It just comes up every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And people, so I don't, I've never experienced that, but
what does seem to come up a bunch is people can be minding their own business. They're out in the woods having a hell of a good time, and then suddenly a feeling of dread, just that horrible, I'm going to die, kind of thing, that just deep dread, like it was projected to them, and I often think about that, and I wonder if that's maybe some extra sensory perception on the part of the people, or if it was maybe projected to them, like, be afraid, be very afraid.
I got a creepy story about that, but I want to answer people's question. It's a creepy story. If we run late, I'll remind me. I'll tell you.
Okay.
My theory on that.
Oh, hey, Bigfoot Michigan, Rob's in here. Good to see you. Good to see you, brother.
And I can run later too, Brent, if you want.
Okay.
I feel bad enough.
No.
And I don't even really know if I'm answering anyone's questions.
Yeah, you're doing great. It's
I enjoy
great.
being asked.
Wes from T-Bone, the UFO paranormal cryptid connection is growing. Do you agree?
I think it's always been there.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always been there. If you ever talk to Native Americans, it really doesn't matter what tribe, there's a lot of paranormal stuff in their Sasquatch, wild man stories, a lot of weird stuff that goes on that you hear today. But we just thought they were crazy Indians that were smoking too much, or
Sure.
I don't think that. I think, when you go back and look at a lot of the Native Americans, they had nothing to do with smoking too much. There's a lot of weird stuff in their legend with these things.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's something new, but I think it's always been there. I know, like, around the 70s, the 80s, in the 90s, Sasquatch researchers would wipe that kind of stuff off of encounters. Sure. And even the BFRO still does that today.
Yeah.
If you saw Sasquatch on your property, and let's say on a separate day you saw the lights, and it even had nothing to do with Sasquatch, they'll cut out all that light part. They'll cut out. And it irritates me that they do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like I always tell people, just tell me what happened. I just want to know what happened. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. Tell me the whole story.
But that goes back to my other creepy story. I'll tell you later.
Okay. On real estate agent, there are the common places, and then though few, the opposite places, seemingly. I don't know what that means. That's not really a question, but we'll move on. But if you have a question, yeah, capitalize it, but make sure it looks like a question, because I don't know what that means. Rob remembers the episode you're referring to. Question, Wes from SFHSFU64. Is Flash of Beauty a psyop to make cryptids the friendly forest people?
No.
I know the Brett Eichenberg and Jill. They're wonderful people. But go ahead. What is your take? They didn't ask me.
No, I think sometimes people who they create content. And here's the thing I'll tell you an irritation from my audience that irritates me every time. They want to hear more scary stories where, like, Bigfoot's killing someone. Mm-hmm. The minute I start putting out encounters where someone's getting killed every time, you should start questioning what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because that's not reality. And I think the Flash of Beauty, I thought they did a great job with it.
Yeah.
But they did kind of pick more of the happier stories in it. But as far as it being a psyops, no. I think it's more of a creative choice that they did.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I mean, yes, it's called Flash of Beauty, so it's, kind of just by the title, you're like, yeah, well, it's not Flash of Hell.
Yeah.
So they did pick the fluffier ones, but there are great stories about people's encounters. There's some beautiful stories. There's also horrible, scary stories, but It's not all horror.
Pretty well done.
Yeah.
I thought they did a pretty good job on it.
I did too. Hello, Batman. Good to see you. And hello to everybody. I'm sorry I didn't do all the shout outs and everything tonight. By the way, T-Bone, thanks for that gifted memberships. I really appreciate it. I did see it and I wrote to you in the chat, but thank you for that generosity. I really appreciate that. Wes was my first interview. This is from Bigfoot, Michigan. Rob made me feel at home. I did terrible, he says.
No, he did good. He did great. I still remember his encounter.
Yeah.
And his, I believe his wife passed away.
Yeah, his girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
Yep.
Yeah, rest her soul.
Yep.
Yeah, Rob's a good guy. I like Rob.
Yeah, Rob's a nice guy. Let's see what's going on as I'm trying to catch up. Ralph Hammond says, 10 years ago, I thought Bigfoot was a joke. Now I know they're out there all over the place. More of a statement, but that one wasn't capitalized. I just did catch that. Yeah. Are you pretty fascinated, or do you think that this topic is really growing? I mean, you've been in it for the long haul. So how have you observed people talking about Bigfoot? How's that looking to you?
Yeah, I think it's growing. What I don't like is, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, but a lot of these YouTube channels to where they will, oh, I got this email, and they retell this story like, you know, some storybook written, and they, you know, it's like, and there's a billion of them, and they just recount these stories. And I reached out to a couple of them because the listeners were like, you gotta have this guy on. Mm-hmm. And what I found is a lot of those are just, it's like a roadside crossing, and then they turned it into like Bigfoot murdering their cousin. They added a bunch of stuff to it, right. And yeah, I guess that was more negative. But yeah, I do think it's growing. I think it's becoming more and more acceptable, and I think which is a good thing.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Here's from Android Paranormal. He's a longtime friend of the show. He put it over on Discord here. It says, hey, Brent, and hey, Wes, thanks for joining the show. I'd like your opinion on a specific case which I recall you covered on your website, which I also remember in the local news from my childhood. It was in Hanover, Maryland in the year 2000 when they had torn down 500 plus acres of forest to build the largest mall in Maryland, which is the Arundel Mills. In short, there was 2 construction workers who kept coming to the work site with their tools severely messed with, and eventually one day they came back and saw a 12-foot creature. Saw it. They called the police to report it. The police report was even released with the officer writing on the ticket in great detail how he saw it and contacted the DNR. The thing that blows my mind the most about this incident was the location. Even though this is 500 plus acres of forest, this location is right near several major highways in all directions within 1 to 2 miles. So it was only a few square miles of forest overall, but no newsworthy reported sightings in the area for years before, which makes sense because there was a dense, these are dense suburban areas. So how in the world does a 12-foot creature live and survive in such a small patch of land undiscovered for years before, or has it been crossing the highways on a regular basis? And there's a second part, and that is, have you seen a pattern of sightings being common with deforestry or large areas? Does this action somehow flush them out from your experience?
What was the first part of that question?
It was the big part was, how in the world does a 12-foot creature live and survive in such a small patch of land undiscovered for years before? Or has it been, do you believe it's been crossing the highways to get there on a regular basis?
Yeah, I don't know. I often wonder that too. I mean, even a 9-foot tall Sasquatch, I'm like, we should be running into them all the time in the woods.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't have a great answer for that. I do think you'll often find in reports to where like Weyerhaeuser will go in and just clear an area. Mm-hmm. And generally those guys will have an encounter. And I almost kind of think they're coming to check in or check out what they're doing. And I think it does draw them in because the whole environment just changed.
Right.
You know, and so I do think that they do run into them as far as where does a 12-foot tall Sasquatch, 8 feet tall is your ceiling.
Yeah.
in a normal home.
Yep.
And so I even wonder, an 8-foot tall Sasquatch, why aren't we running into them
Right.
consistently? Why can't we find them on people's property when they're having encounter after encounter, and then you go out and look for them? You can't find any trace of them.
Right.
I was thinking of John Benernagel. He used to always say we have trace evidence, and it used to drive him crazy. And he didn't have a great answer for that either. He didn't know, So I don't know. It's a great question.
There's so many questions about all of this stuff, but I think that's fascinating. We got a question in the chat from the unknown. What about Todd Standing's pictures? In other words, what do you think of what he's produced?
I'm trying to think how to answer this question. I actually like Todd.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't. And one of the reasons why I think, not so much for his pictures, I'll tell you a story about his pictures in a second, but not so much for his pictures, but I think a lot of Bigfoot researchers just don't like him.
Sure.
And he's not the easiest person to get along with, but he's not a bad guy. Mm-hmm. I remember I asked Les Stroud that question about Todd. And Les told me, oh yeah, he'll take you into areas where they're at. Absolutely. And I go, well, what's the deal? Why does everyone hate this guy? And Les told me, he goes, I think Todd might be on the spectrum. So when you talk to Todd, he's very much like, oh, and this and this and that and this and that and that. And he's going like a million miles an hour. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he says things to where it sounds like he knows everything. But I don't think that I don't get the sense he's a bad guy. I don't get the sense. I've known people on the spectrum. They're a lot like Todd. Mm-hmm. They're very much like that. Now, with regard to his pictures, I had a guy, it was a cop actually in Texas, and he goes, he was telling me about his encounter, and he goes, there's a picture online of exactly what I saw. And I was like, really? And he sent it to me. And I don't know if this is appropriate to say. He's like, he kept calling it the Michael Jackson one. And I was like, Michael Jackson one. But it was the one with the face that has no hair, and it's kind of got a weird look to it. And it's kind of looking out from the bushes. Mm-hmm. You know which one I'm talking about?
I'm always picturing the younger one. I can't remember the other ones, actually. It's been a long time.
It's got hair around its head.
Okay.
If I could share my screen, I'd show you. But and other Bigfoot researchers that give him crap, I'm like, well, redo what he did. Yeah. Show me it's complete nonsense. Recreate what he did. Not one researcher is taking me up on that offer.
Sure.
So I'm not so sure that, when you see his pictures, it looks like he's taking pictures from like 25 feet away. Mm-hmm. He's actually like 300 yards away. He's got the zoom camera. So I'm not so quick to call him a liar or he's hoaxing things, or
so
I could see for some people he might be hard to get along with, but
sure. I'll just put some of the pictures up. I did a Google Images thing here.
Yeah, it's none of those.
Okay.
It's a really weird looking picture.
Okay. Oh, is this the one over here on the margin?
That's one, the third one in.
Yeah, down there. Yep.
No, at the very, very top.
This one, the third one here.
I'm watching it from a delay.
Oh, so, sorry.
Yeah. That one right there.
Okay.
Or kind of has no.
Right.
It's at the very top. It's the third one to the right, I believe. Well, go to your left, Brent.
My left is here. So I'm on the third one in when I was. Well,
no, that's not it. Go over two to your left.
Two to my left would be this one. We got to wait for the delay.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that one, Brent. I think. Yep, that one right there, where it has no hair on its face.
Yep.
Yeah, I had a cop in Texas tell me, he goes, "That's exactly what I saw."
Wow. Okay.
So
there's a bigger version of it. I just clicked on it and blew it up. Wow.
And that's the one that I thought was least convincing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's what he told me he saw.
Wow. That's incredible. That is incredible.
But I like Todd. I mean, it's, I've met worse human beings in the Bigfoot world than Todd Standing. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Very cool. I don't know Todd. I've tried to get him on the show, and he said he was willing, but when I got to the booking person that does his booking, they would never return my contacts. So I think you're right. A lot of people discount him as being smug and arrogant and all of that stuff. And you're right. What if he's, just slightly on the spectrum? And I think a lot of people are. I think we all are maybe on the spectrum somewhere, but you're, if he's so dialed in and he's so drilled in, and I don't know. I know he's one of the most embattled people in the Bigfoot scene, but
he's very passionate, very, very passionate.
Yep,
yeah.
Yep. Question in the chat, Wes, have any of your guests had missing time from cryptids?
Yes, but it's rare. I've probably had a half a dozen.
Okay. I gotcha. The Ape Canyon question was about people seeing women in white. What? The unknown. What's the rest of the question, though? You're giving me a piece. What about?
Oh, yeah, the Ape Canyon. Before they actually ran into Sasquatch. What did they call that spirit?
I don't know.
She told them where the mine was at.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and what do they call that in the paranormal world? A port where something appears?
Yeah, that's an apport, A-P-P-O-R-T.
Yeah. If you go read Fred Beck's diary, they ran into this, what was the spirit's name? But it was a woman in white. Who asked that?
That was, the unknown was saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The unknown's right. If you go back and read, I mean, that Ape Canyon story is a lot weirder than what most people talk about these days. They think it's just apes that attack these guys, and there's way more to that story.
Yeah, it sounds like it. What was interesting was when you were talking about the rock apes and the Marines' experience, and you were talking about the firefight and how they couldn't find the bodies. It was very much similar to the whole Rock Canyon when they were shooting at them, and they looked like they were clearly hitting them and they were falling, but they never did find bodies there either.
Yeah.
That's quite a parallel. Let's see. Let's go to Boondock Mojo. Says, the first time I heard Sasquatch roaring at me, I thought it was some type of heavy machinery throttling up. LOL. Yeah, I bet. That was more of a statement again, but that's okay. Any reports of, this is from Ralph Hammond, any reports of the Klickitat ape cat? I don't know that one.
I don't know that one, but I have heard people that do run into these weird, they almost sound like Sasquatch till you get to the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I've probably only heard it half a dozen times. One was actually from a state trooper.
Oh, really?
But yeah, they're described very much like Sasquatch until you get to the face. And then it's more like a feline than it is anything else. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't know the Klickitat one that person was talking about. But
yeah, the Klickitat ape cat is what they're saying. Yep. Okay, this is from SFS again. Wes, do you believe Claudia Ackley? Rest in peace.
I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm trying to remember her encounter.
Yeah, I don't know it offhand.
Claudia was very sweet, though.
Was she?
I will say that. A little crazy, but aren't we all a little bit? But yeah, she was very sweet. I don't know. I'd have to go back and hear her encounter.
Okay.
But I don't think she was zapped to death by Sasquatch like someone was asking earlier. Because she had a lot of health issues.
Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry.
Very tragic, yeah. Very sweet, though.
So Boondock Mojo comes back again, and obviously this shows you how far behind I am with the chat. But he says, so the stories are true about them appearing on security cameras inside of heavily guarded military nuclear facilities.
100%.
Wow. That's crazy. And then there's Vincent Sanchez is making a statement. SoCal Yucca Man. So the California Yucca Man is a desert Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yucca Man.
Okay. And I have heard of that
it's
name.
California's. They call it the Yucca Man.
Okay. Here's Android Paranormal. This looks like it's to me, director of the UAP task force For the Pentagon, Jay Stratton and his family all saw a dogman twice in his backyard before visiting Skinwalker Ranch. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Jay is in the age of disclosure. Yeah, I did see Jay. I didn't get a chance to sit and watch his presentation, but he was at Vernal, I believe. Jay Stratton was there this last time. But so were a ton of other people. So it was a blur. Everything was a blur. T-Bone's asking about the spider crawl, Wes. What about it? T-Bone, what is it that you're curious about? I don't, that's not really a question, but let me know if you can, and I'll ask Wes more directly what you want to know here. Maybe that's how they can see you so easily. Yeah, maybe. BJ Lapierre is postulating that maybe they have some kind of thermal imaging vision, and that's how they can see you so easily. Sure, it could be. I don't know. Maybe we could see body heat. Let's see. Just looking for questions.
We even hear about them, like I've had people in trailers or when they're around their home and Sasquatch knows what room they're in, will actually go to that person's bedroom. That makes you wonder too.
I know. Yeah. How do they know? And there's so many reports of them basically like shadowing people that are inside their house with closed blinds. And they just seem to know. That's absolutely scary. Hello, Eduardo from Twitch. Good to see you. Texas Man in Black. I must admit it. I love the spooky ones and the scary ones, but that is human nature, dealing with the stories. Yeah. I suppose we all like to be thrilled and scared.
Yeah, but I don't do it for spooky stories. I'm only dealing in reality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Dog Digger has a question in Rumble. I'm trying to see it, Dog Digger. Oh, there it is. Wes, do you think your support of Bob Garrett got you in trouble? That was from Dog Digger over in Rumble.
In trouble how?
I don't know. What did you mean in trouble, Dog Digger? Or do you think it caused problems for you maybe? I don't know. No? I don't know. If you want,
I don't know what he's referring to.
Yeah, let us know, Dog, if you would mind, please. I don't know the context of what trouble might have come up from that. What's the biggest Squatch you've ever heard of from Ralph Hammond?
I want to say about 12. I think 12's the tallest one I've ever heard of.
Oh, God, that's a lot of animal. Or being, whatever.
But I've only heard that like once or twice. Most of the time, you know, I mean, 10 is huge. If you think, again, going back to your ceilings, if you look up at your ceiling in the average home, your ceiling's up 8 feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's enormous.
Yeah. Like something that's like as wide as a love seat and it's standing with its head at your ceiling level.
Yeah. Refrigerator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, and then you go to 2 feet more than that? Hell no. Oh, Dog Digger says with the government. Do you think it got you in trouble with the government? Your support of Bob Garrett.
That's a story for another time.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Dog. I can't go any further with that one. Do they do the Predator? Do you think they cloak? Do you think they do the Predator thing?
I do. I've heard it too many times from people who, I've even had people on the show where they're like, can I leave that part out?
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's so weird that they don't even want to almost acknowledge what they saw. But I even had a cop on one time. He parked in this church. I think I've told you the story before, Brent. He parked in this church and he would take his lunch there and sometimes take a nap. But he would set up his radar gun or the radar for speed. And he would back into the parking lot, set up his so if he fell asleep and there was movement, his radar gun would go off just for his own protection. And so he was sitting there one day and the radar gun starts going off and he was wide awake at the time and he looks up and what he said he saw was, he described it like water in the air, but it was a figure. And it was next to the church where there was light and everything. And it was running in between these big pillars. And he's like, what in the world is that? And he told me, he goes, even the water, he described it like water in the air, but he said it was an outline of what you would think a Sasquatch would look like. I mean, there was just this huge bulking, and it was darting in between the pillars, and he thought he was seeing a ghost. And it went behind this pillar, and then he said it took off down this pasture to the wood line, and when it took off, it was solid. But he goes, I sat there and watched it for like 2 minutes. It was not solid. And he goes, the only way I can describe it is like water in the air. And if you think of the predator, that's a great description of the predator, like water in the air.
Yeah. Yeah, that prismatic quality. Yeah.
But I've heard it time and time again. I've heard it time and time again from people who think they're apes.
Oh, okay.
Hardcore ape people that have had that sort of thing happen.
Wow.
What's happening or how it happens, I don't know, but it does come up.
Right. Fascinating. Yeah. I think there's something to it too. And again, it's one of those parts I don't know how to intellectualize that, but it's got to be something to it. I just don't understand it. Rachel gets it right in the chat as a question. Has there been any sightings of Bigfoot in apple orchards or land with trees, where the Bigfoot are eating fermented apples with the possibility of being buzzed by the alcohol in the apples? You ever heard of them getting absolutely plastered from eating apples?
I've never heard of them getting plastered by the apples. They do show up a lot in apple orchards. There is one account where there was a pot. They were growing pot out in the middle of it, and it was eating the pot plants. And he described it almost like being drunk, like it would get up and kind of fall down. And but as far as apples go, these things are pretty heavy creatures. It would take a lot of apples to get drunk.
Yeah, could you imagine? Yeah. I think Andre the Giant still holds the record for drinking the most beer in one sitting, and it was like 125 or something like that. Yeah.
And he wasn't even drunk.
Yeah, he still walked out and went to bed at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
Here's a question from SFH As, who says, do you think Sasquatch Ontario Nephatia photo is real? Its nose looked like a bat.
I don't remember seeing a photo.
I remember it, but I think it was kind of like through a fence, or it was like it wasn't wide open, but it was like peeking over a fence or something, or a railing, and it was very dark in a dark night background. But I know the photo he's talking about. I guess personally, I wasn't a real big subscriber to the idea, but yeah, if you're not familiar with the picture, then it's hard to comment on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Where are we at? Oh, Man in Black says they are nomadic for sure. Do you subscribe to that idea that they're nomadic, or do you think they have like a home range, like a grizzly, kind of just an expansive range circuit maybe?
I think they stay within a range. I really do.
Okay.
And I've talked about this before, but even like here in this was back probably 2015, I want to say. There was constant reports of this gray one people were seeing, but the reports were coming from like near Mount St. Helens all the way down to the Columbia River. And I started following its pattern based on eyewitness testimony. And the reason why I know it's the same creature, well, two reasons. One, every eyewitness would describe this huge scar down its chest.
Okay.
And it was very, very aggressive. And man, I took so many reports, and after a while I started asking people, did it have a scar on its chest? And there, people were like, well, how do you know that? And it's because I was getting so many reports. But if you followed where it was going, the hotter it got, it seemed like it went up towards Mount St. Helens. The cooler it got, it came down more towards the Columbia River, and it would do this weird circular pattern. Now, do they all do that? I don't know. But I do think that they do stay in a range. Like, I don't think the ones in Washington are going to like LA for, a little warmth in the winter or anything like that. I do think they stay within a range.
They're not heading down for Burning Man then?
Yeah. And that's just my opinion. I don't know, of course.
No, I've always believed that too. I believe that because people like there seems to be a circuit, because there's several stories that I've covered over the years where it seemed like a certain time of the year they would have activity and then not. and it would be pretty normal then until the next year then, and it occurs to me that, like a big grizzly will have like a couple 100 miles in its home range, and I think they just follow that, and there's like, they know where the berries are growing, they know where the herds are going to be, and they know where the fish run or whatever, and I think they just do that. But it's, wildly speculative, but very cool.
I'll tell you a creepy story. Unless you want to do more questions.
No, I think I can hear your voice is starting to crack, so I'm not going to keep tormenting you here, but
No, you're not tormenting me. I'm happy to answer questions, but I told this on one of my members' show. People were asking about Sasquatch and the paranormal, and I'll tell you a quick story that happened to me that I always, for whatever reason, have in the back of my mind. And I don't know if you'd appreciate me telling the story, but I'll tell it. This was years and years ago. Probably a year or two after mine and Woody's encounter. I go over to his home, and I walk into his home, and I felt like something was like inches from my face.
Oh.
And it hated my guts. And I just got this overwhelming dread, fear. Whatever this was, if it could kill me, it would have. But I didn't say anything to Woody at the time, because what did he say? I didn't see anything. It's not like, it was just a feeling.
Right.
But no matter where I went in that home, I had that same feeling of this thing just right there. And it was this overwhelming sense of like fear, dread. I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I can tell you that feeling was very similar to the night of our encounter. Before we ever saw anything, I had this weird feeling like something is very wrong here. And I couldn't quite put my finger on it. So I leave, and I come back about, 2 weeks later or something. And I knock on the door. Woody answers the door, and his eyes are like as big as saucers, and he's just white.
Oh.
And he looks terrified. Now, if you know anything about Woody, beyond our encounter, I've never seen Woody scared of anything ever. And I go, and I knew something was wrong right off the bat. I was like, what's wrong? He goes, I got to show you something. So he takes me in the backyard, and he has this wood fence. And in the wood fence was like, almost like Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Oh.
And I'm looking at them. And the more I looked at them, the more I realized it wasn't like carved in with a knife. This looks like it was like cut with a laser. Oh. And Woody's not smart enough to do Egyptian hieroglyphs in his. And I looked over at him. I was like, "Are you screwing with me?" And he was like, "No." He's like, "I got to show you something else." So we go into his garage. In his garage, in the sheetrock, is this same Egyptian. It looks, the only way I can describe it is like Egyptian hieroglyphs. It may not have been Egyptian hieroglyphs, but if I were to describe it, that's what I would say.
Okay.
In the sheetrock, it wasn't cut with a knife. The exact same thing. It looked like it had been cut with a freaking laser.
Wow.
And I looked over at Woody and I was like, what is this? I don't understand what you're showing me. I don't what is this? So he starts to tell me that, and he didn't know about any of the stuff going on, but his girlfriend had decided to become a Wiccan or a witch.
Oh.
And was casting spells, I guess.
Oh.
I don't think she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And he told me, he said, Wes, okay, so I'm laying in bed. My girlfriend's asleep. He goes, I feel something get on top of me. And it felt like 1,000-pound whatever man climbed on top of me. And it started choking him. And he told me, he goes, I thought I was going to die. And it growled in his ear. Back up for a second. The night of our encounter, as we're driving up to that spot, that overwhelming dread, that overwhelming fear, that feeling of being watched. And it's more than just being watched. There's a little bit more to it, but I can't articulate it.
Okay.
That same feeling I had as we drove up, I had in his home. When we go to leave, this thing growls at us several times. And it's very hard to articulate to people how a growl will terrify you, how a growl will absolutely, and I'm ashamed to even admit that a growl terrified me. But what was amazing that night is both of us had made the comment, and I've never had a demon growl in my ear, but we both said that night, it would be like the equivalent of a demon sitting on your shoulder, growling in your ear. That's what it felt like.
Oh, that's horrifying.
And when we left that night, Woody's an atheist. He doesn't believe in paranormal. He doesn't believe in any of this before what I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. And I kept asking him, what are those things? What were they? And I'll never forget. He goes, I think we just ran into demons. Now, for those words to come out of Woody's mouth is shocking.
Yeah.
Because that would be something you would never expect. So fast forward back, this thing climbs on top of him. It's holding him down. It's choking him. And again, he told me he thought he was going to die that night. He goes, Wes, and then it growled in my ear. The growl that I heard is identical to the growl you and I heard. Those 5 sets of growl, identical to what we heard that night.
Oh, wow.
And that's always bothered me. And that's always kind of stuck with me. And there's way more to the story.
Sure.
One time he was going out to from his home to the garage. You know, your home is connected to your garage. And Woody's very, what's the term? OCD.
Sure.
Like everything has its place.
Right.
Like his place is spotless. He goes out, steps out in the garage, and he goes, oh, I forgot my wallet. And he turns around, goes back in, and he goes, Wes, I'm talking like 4 seconds, maybe less than that, 3 seconds. Whole place is trashed. There's dishes thrown everywhere, furniture's turned upside down, trash thrown everywhere. They eventually had someone come in and cleanse the house and whatever it was went away. But I'm telling you, that feeling was very similar to the feeling I had that night. And when he told me about that growl, it makes me wonder sometimes, man, because
right.
there is a lot of paranormal stuff that goes on with Sasquatch. Now, what they are, I'm not saying that they're demons, but
right.
There's a lot of things where you can look at certain situations and go, well, that actually lines up over here. You know, mind speak. Where else do you hear minds? Aliens. You hear mind speak all the time with the aliens.
Yeah. And
then you hear it with Sasquatch. It's like, well, are they, what's going on here? You hear it in demonic encounters too.
Right. Yep.
But anyway, that was the story that,
that's amazing and terrifying, horrifying.
Yeah, it scared me. I wanted nothing to do with that home. Yeah. I don't think I ever went back to his house after that.
Yeah, no, not.
I couldn't wait to get away from it.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole bad situation. Wow. Well, I'm glad it worked out for him eventually, but that's terrifying.
Yeah, it makes me wonder though. You know, like I said, like it's always kind of in the back of my mind, and I've thought about it for years, but I've never really talked about it.
Yikes.
We can answer more questions. I didn't mean to go off. That was a story I wanted to tell you.
Okay. Yeah, that's absolutely freaky. Okay, I was going to ask you about that other story, but that's the one and the same then, yeah.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts from the Half-Inch Wrench crew? What's your thoughts on Bigfoot populations increasing due to human development? Example, deer 1990, 250,000 versus 2021, 3.5 million. Do Bigfoot populations increase as well?
That's a great question. I have no idea.
Yeah.
And you'll hear researchers go, well, we think there's 5,000 Sasquatch. I know Dr. Meldrum did that. Cliff Berkman did that. And actually, if you hear Cliff's explanation, you could almost kind of go with it. They do it based on bears. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I really don't know when it comes to,
sure. Okay.
You know, how many are out there or their populations. I think there's more and more encounters, though. I think more and more encounters are happening. Yeah. And why is that? It could be for exactly what they're saying, you know, building new developments and us kind of invading what was once wild land, you know?
Yep, I think there's definitely something to that. Because if they do have those extended ranges, there's probably a mall where there used to be a berry patch that they relied on or something. You don't know. So, of course, they're going to come back and go, wait, this isn't right. Let's see. Wes, have you ever been contacted by men in black or questionable government people? This is from Texas Man in Black.
Next question.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, 60 SF.
Sorry. Texas Man from Black. I just don't really want to go into it right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I think he knows. I think I told him, but
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. We'll save that for another time.
All right, another show. SFHSFU. Wes, why are the churches not recognizing cryptids but recognize demons and poltergeists?
Maybe except for a few handful of things. There's not a lot of cryptids in the Bible.
Yeah, that's probably true. And the Bible does deal with mostly spiritual struggles and probably less with worldly struggles.
I don't go to church, though. I think they're all corrupt. But that's my own personal opinion.
And we got to go, ladies and gentlemen. No,
And I'm not saying that
no, I know.
God's not there, but
Yeah.
you know, that I'm not like taking a shot at anyone. I shouldn't have said that.
No, it's fine. They've all heard me question things like that anyway. Boondock Mojo comes back and says, question, have you ever heard the word chlorophyll linked with Sasquatch DNA?
No.
Nor have I. And you did a big breakdown of Melba's stuff with her, right?
I actually talked to Melba.
Yeah.
Melba's cool as hell, man.
Yeah.
Like what you see on like I think with Melba, she's so used to defending herself that it's a very uncomfortable. If you ever notice her interviews, she doesn't look real comfortable. But I will say Melba knows DNA and can explain DNA to a dummy like me. And Melba's cool, man. Melba knows, I mean, a lot of weird history, and I like her.
Yeah. Yeah. From SFHS once again, Wes, what helped you with the PTSD from your experience with these things?
Time.
Time.
But it never really goes away.
Sure.
Despite what anyone tells you.
Yeah, I your experience, of course, was absolutely terrifying. I think of Kerry Arnold and how that was such a transformative experience for him. I mean, he lived, eat, and breathed hunting until that experience, and it took it away. And I was so proud of him that he was able to reclaim that and not necessarily get out into hunting, but he would go into the woods, and he was recovering that. So
loved Carrie.
Yeah.
Huge loss.
Yeah, that was a heartbreak.
I used to talk to Carrie almost every day.
Yeah, me too. I don't know about every day, but definitely weekly. We'd talk a few times a week. From the unknown, Brent and Wes. By the way, we're speaking of Kerry Arnold, of course. Any of you out there, God bless him. He was a dear friend of both Wes and mine, and he's passed away, unfortunately, several years ago now. But it's still a painful memory for us, and the world is a lot dimmer place without that man, and he did a lot to contribute to the conversation, and was an exceptional guy, and an incredible guy. So dearly missed.
Texas. Sorry,
No, go
Texas
ahead.
man. He didn't hit a nerve with me. I could probably sit and talk about that for 2 hours, and I just don't have 2 hours. But he didn't hit a nerve with me. There's no reason to apologize. But yeah, Kerry was a good man. Loved him.
Yeah, sure was. Boondock Mojo says, what you saw on the fence and in the walls, I believe, were demonic sigils. And yeah, it sounds like it.
What's a demonic sigil?
Like hieroglyphs, except like a language of a demon kind of thing being carved into the walls at Woody's. Those hieroglyphic things.
Yeah.
Have you ever looked into sigils and stuff?
No, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, there's several scripts that deal with sigils and stuff, and they can look almost hieroglyphic but different. Yeah. Just looking, I think Boondock Mojo again, Wes. There's a demonologist named Nathaniel Gillis who explains the sigils you saw in the fence and the walls. His research is mind blowing. Okay, well that's a good follow up. Nathaniel Gillis. I guess if you want to look into that, you can. Rachel gets it right. Do you think sometime in the future there might be a Bigfoot ambassador? Once the woods are severely encroached, the Bigfoot tries to make contact with humans because there's no choice to hide anymore.
No.
Okay. Fair enough. Eric Fries says, question, what's Moneymaker's problem with Ketchum?
I'm not sure. You'd have to ask Moneymaker.
Yeah, I don't know that either. I don't know how to. Okay, you already responded to that. Bigfoot Michigan Rob's asking, does Wes think if you had any encounter, Bigfoot or otherwise, that a person becomes marked because of the initial vibration or frequency?
No.
Okay. It is.
I think you become more aware.
Yes.
And I think you're more, I don't think it's being marked. Like when I'm in the woods, man, my head's on a swivel.
Yeah.
You know, and if I get any sort of weird vibe, I leave.
Yep.
It's weird to have a Bigfoot show. I really don't have a lot of love for Sasquatch.
Well, it's worked out for you. So,
Yeah.
Question from SFHS again, Wes. What do you think of the Kiwani lesseritis compared to Jerry Williams' Predator Bigfoot?
I'm not sure what he's referring to.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Those are some great questions, but I don't know anything enough to.
Kiwani, the psychic guy?
I don't know. Kiwani lesseritis, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the psychic guy. He's been around forever.
Okay.
Compared to Jerry Williams' Predator Bigfoot, I don't know. I have to look up the Jerry Williams Predator Bigfoot.
Okay.
Sorry, I wish I had been. I feel like I have no answers. I'm like, next. Sorry, people. I don't mean to be that way.
Android Paranormal's asking, do you think government UFO disclosure would open the door for government cryptid disclosure?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
But I think by then it'll be too late.
yeah. Oh, too late in what way?
I think the moment they actually come out with all this stuff that's been going on over the last 80 years,
Uh-huh.
I think it'll change the world. I think it'll change everything.
Right.
Because did you ever watch that guy? They did a whole documentary on him walking with the tall whites.
I don't
Did
think
you ever see that?
I don't believe
That
it.
military guy who worked on S4
Okay.
and he worked in a weather station.
I don't think I saw that, no.
You get a chance, YouTube the walking with the tall whites, and it'll blow your mind. I've actually looked that guy up, and everything he says he did, he actually did in the military.
Oh, really?
And maybe the military is thinking he's so crazy that they don't really care what he said. Kind of like Bob Lazar.
Oh, okay.
But Bob Lazar, a lot of what Bob said actually came true.
Yeah.
About 30 years later.
Yep. Tall whites. I'm writing it down.
Tall Whites documentary. Yeah, it's a trip.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check
And
it.
he kind of describes the tall white, almost kind of like Sasquatches. So it's a weird, you got to watch it.
Okay.
You definitely have to watch it.
Wes, do you think cryptids aren't Nephilim? Gary Wayne, Genesis 6.
Do I think that they aren't Nephilim?
Are not, I guess.
I guess it depends on what you define as a Nephilim. If you're talking about giants, the offspring that were created, I don't think that's them. But when you go into the Book of Enoch, the Book of Jasper, you can even go into a lot of ancient Hindu writing. In the pre-Diluvian world, there was a lot of like half man, half this running around, and just a lot of really weird things. And going back to where, I don't think the Egyptians built the pyramids. I think they were already there when they showed up. Same thing with Greek mythology. I think Greek mythology comes from the Sumerians.
Oh, right.
Was passed down to the Egyptians and was passed down to the Greeks. And so if that's what you consider a Nephilim, it's possible that it's more of a, abomination. It's more of a something created that really shouldn't exist.
Sure. Okay. Well, the good news is we made it through all the questions that I saw, and thank you everybody for asking questions and contributing to the conversation.
I hope I answered questions. I just felt like I didn't answer anyone's questions.
You did
All right,
great.
everyone.
No, a lot of them were your opinions on stuff, and you gave your opinions, so that was perfect. I don't know how you could have done better, honestly, but it was great. Brother, I've had a blast. This has been a good time. We did an extra 34 minutes, so nobody should be whining about that.
Yeah, thank you for all the questions, everyone in chat. And Brent, thank you so much for having me on, man.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Appreciate it.
I'm going to have a good time on your show. That's actually tomorrow, isn't it? Wow.
Tomorrow at 3.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to be over there, and then I'll do my show later than that. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Wes, obviously, you're the best. Thanks for taking the time to be here with us. And
Thank you, everyone.
what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to mention, if you guys are still looking for more of your paranormal needs, head over and check out Mr. Dave Scott on his YouTube channel. He's live and underway right now. Thank you, Android. Appreciate it.
Dave's growing on me.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I like
growing
him.
on me for sure.
He's just been a lot of fun to get to know, and his energy is just contagious. I like Dave. But
Yeah, I thought T-Bone was asking me to be on Dave's show when he was on.
yeah, I think
And I was like, well, Brent has my number. I mean, we talk all the time. He can just call me. But anyway.
yeah. Well, I saw that and I went, no, Wes is going to be on my show.
I think he was talking about your show.
Oh, T-Bone? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Wes and I have been friends for years, guys. But yeah, it's been a great time. I'm going to wrap this up. I know you probably need to rest your voice, but hang on a minute. But to all of you guys, go head over and check out Dave Scott on YouTube, youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And I'll be back tomorrow night to try to entertain you some more. Good night, everybody. Remember, love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice. Take care of each other. Help each other out. Find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. See you guys tomorrow. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.